Hi everyone, alongside Mike Drossel, I'm Dave Giancola, and welcome in for this U.S. Open Classic finish. Curtis Strange held a one-stroke lead heading into the final round of the 1988 championship at the Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts. But the list of folks trying to catch him was long and noteworthy.
And Dave, they included the likes of Mark O'Meara, Fred Couples, Lanny Wadkins, and reigning British Open champion Nick Faldo. As the final round neared its conclusion, Strange, Faldo, and O'Meara emerged as the most serious contenders, with each looking for their first U.S. Open title.
Let's dive in. Let's head to the 10th tee with Strange and Faldo tied for the lead, and O'Meara just a few groups ahead and only one off the pace.
The 10th, the start of the most difficult string of holes on the golf course. 10th hole, 439-yard par 4. Here is the front side for Strange and Faldo, and you see Faldo parred every single one of the front 9, just as he did in last year's British Open. Curtis Strange, 1 over for the front 9. Those 2 bogeys back-to-back on the 2nd and 3rd hole got him in trouble. Okay, Rossi.
Faldo laid way back off this tee. He's 190 yards, and this hole is playing a little downwind. I would think that he's somewhere between a 5 and 6 iron. It's downhill, downwind. I think he's got a 6 iron and will try and hit it hard for the middle of the green. I don't think he wants to fool around with that left.
Okay. On this Father's Day, we must not forget what moms will do for their little boys. For example, Nick Faldo's mother, when he was a little boy, made him his first golf bag out of linen.
A linen golf bag.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been worth it because he's become one of the best players in the world and a nice man.
Right at the flag.
And just off the putting surface.
Maybe that'll be the one he'll make. He's been on the greens and hadn't been able to make one. Maybe from just off he'll make it.
Larry Mize for a par at 11. He's got to hang in there. He's 3 shots behind now. I'll tell you, we have seen a good deal of courage in the last couple of days here.
These guys are heroic, Jim. What they do under pressure, I mean, the pitch that Mark O'Meara played a little while ago, the shot that he hit up on 12. Well, so many players. Lanny Wadkins double bogeys 10, comes right back and birdies 11.
Curtis Strange.
Curtis hit a big drive down the right-hand side. He's in a beautiful position to shoot to the left-hand flag. And he's got a 9 iron from 140 yards. Wind really kicking up now, blowing harder than at any time during the day. Right down his back. Now he's going to change clubs. Might be playing a little 8. Might have gone to a 9. All depends what you want to do with this shot. If you really want to hit it hard, it's a 9 iron. If you want to just play a nice little shot, it's an 8. Very smooth swing. I would think that was an 8.
Well, there's the birdie opportunity for Curtis Strange.
Bob, what you said is the mark of a great player. I feel that he has an option of the shots he wants to play as we go to O'Meara at 13.
161 yards, pin in the right front of the green. The 7 iron. And he's losing that a little to the right side.
Not too bad. O'Meara, 1 shot behind. Here's the other man who's 1 shot behind. This was a moment ago for a birdie at the 11th hole. Nope, about 2 inches to the right of the hole. Now Steve Pate at the 14th hole, the par 5, is in trouble.
Not so much in trouble. Well, let's see what happens now. That is the par 5. And he Missed the green there today. Now watch, this may come back toward the hole. Watch this. This was on tape.
Oh. Well, then it's straightened up a little bit. But,
It's straightened up a lot bit, I'll tell you. He's very pleased with that, this former UCLA standout when he played for Eddie Marins's Bruins.
27 years old. He's won 2 tournaments this year and more than $300,000. This is not what you'd call an unknown, though you may not have heard of him at home. No relation, no kin to our Jerry Pate, who's out on the fairways today.
He's had to conquer a temper problem. When he was a collegiate player, his temper used to get him in a lot of trouble, and he seems to have handled that pretty well. But you do have to have a little fire no matter what. Good opportunity gone.
Yeah, that'll be for the par. Now Nick Faldo. Nick says when he was a kid, he used to practice his sand shots out of the long jump pit at the high school. Wherever you can find it, right? That's the way you learn
Good
to play
idea.
the game. Now this is a birdie putt, remember, which at least momentarily would give him sole possession of the lead. But Strange has a very makeable one coming up. A little strong with it.
Well, as I said so often during the show, that when it's against the fringe and you're worrying about that backswing, it's hard to get the proper speed on it.
Should there be a playoff, it will not be today. It will be at 18 holes tomorrow, and we'll be here, of course. U.S. Open, almost the last stronghold of 18-hole playoffs, with USGA championships.
Well, of all the tournaments we play, it is the only one.
Yeah, the Masters has gone to sudden death. The British Open has not had the opportunity to use it yet, but they have a modified version of 5-hole playoff and then sudden death if they should still be tied on total score for those 5 holes. This for the lead. Sole possession of the lead. Just where he started the day if he makes this.
We've seen him make a lot of these putts at the Memorial and here. One at the Memorial.
There's another. Strange is back in front. That's the first big smile we've seen since he left the first tee. After he bogeyed the second and third hole, he seemed a little uncertain, steadied himself, and now has grabbed this opportunity to go 7 under par, even for the day, 1 stroke ahead of Faldo. And Nick now has his par putt. But over at 13, there was more action. We were watching that. Mira's third shot on the par 4 hole. Good shot. Faldo for par. Live. All right. Okay, so he's still 1 behind and has still parred every hole on the golf course. And the gallery continues to grow with that last group. Dave Marr talked to Curtis Strange about another subject. Here's what he had to say.
Curtis, when I first was around you for any length of time over at Princeville, you, among the players that used to come there like Crenshaw and Phil Hancock, you were the one that seemed to be the hardest on yourself. You now seem to be a lot happier with Curtis Strange than you were then.
Well, good play helps that, I'll tell you, Dave. You know, you're right, Dave, and I think a lot of people have seen that change, and I've tried. And I'm happy that people have noticed the energy I put forth to it, trying to change. But I think it got me to where I am. I think being hard on myself really helped me. I think it made me keep driving, keep practicing, keep putting, keep doing everything I needed to do to get better. and because I needed some improvement. I think right now, if I keep going, I can go a little higher. But I got to keep that enthusiasm, and I got to keep practicing, and I got to keep hard on myself to keep doing it, because we don't have a coach as in tennis. We don't have a coach as in football or baseball to kick air in our butts to keep us going. So you got to have something down deep. You got to have a little fire and little, little whatever it is to keep you going, and I think I got plenty of it.
A Virginia gentleman with fire underneath. Curtis Strange. Now we're going to meet a man who shot 66 today, Paul Azinger with Jack.
Paul Azinger, you look like you don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Well, you know, I'm obviously excited that I was able to make par in the last hole, but I'm also a little disappointed that I was as close as I was, and it doesn't look like I was able to get the job done.
We heard that you're 10 strokes different between yesterday and today, and we heard that yesterday the 76 wasn't that bad, was it?
Well, I got off to a bad start yesterday. I misclubbed, I think, on the first 2 holes and bogeyed them both, and made a bogey on 7, the par 3, which was easy to do. But what really hurt me was the 8th hole. I hit an 8-iron about 12 feet behind the pin and managed to 4-putt somehow. And that kind of took the winds out of my sails, I guess. But I was 10 shots better the first 9 holes today than I was yesterday, and that's pretty hard to believe.
It was magnificent. What were you thinking coming down the stretch? You think you had a real chance?
Well, I did. You know, the scores were backing up when I was out there, and I felt like, you know, maybe if I got to 5 under, that'd be a good number to post. And when I was coming off 15T, Seve, who I was playing with today, he said to me, he says, you get 1 more birdie. I was 3 under at the time. He says, 1 more birdie would be good enough. And I really didn't think so, but, you know, I kind of ran the holes through my mind. 10 through 13 are playing awfully difficult today, and if anybody plays them under par, they deserve to win the golf tournament, and it may be the deciding factor, really, those holes. So, gosh, I just wanted to get to 4, and I made a great birdie on 16, and unfortunately on 17 I put it in a spot where I really had little to do, little chance to make a par there. I was just over the green, an extremely fast chip shot, and I chipped it about 40 feet by. But again, I didn't play 18 very well, and I was very fortunate to make par there.
Well, thank you very much for a lot of thrills here today, Paul. We're going to be hearing a lot from you, I know.
Well, I hope so, Jack. Maybe I've finally learned how to get my foot in the door.
Attaboy. Tim?
That was Mark O'Meara's tee shot on the par 5 14th. Now he has finished that stretch of 10 through 13 that Paul Azinger was talking about, and we've talked about a couple times during the day. He could have birdies in front of him. But these 2 men, they still got those tough ones to play. Now, Nick Faldo and Curtis Strange facing this tough stretch of the 11th, 12th, and 13th holes. Strange leading by 1 now over this man, Nick Faldo.
Faldo from 185 yards, 180 to clear the trap. Probably a 5-iron, a little downhill, and the wind has swirled around. It's behind him. Oh, be right. Big guy forward. Big guy forward.
All right.
Nick has really played some beautiful shots today. He's
Now Steve Pate, who as you can see drove well over the road on the 15th hole.
Probably helped a little bit by the fact that he missed that short putt at 14.
Gorgeous shot. Well, it's beginning to heat up. Curtis Strange. Those of you who might have just joined us at this time of day, might have just come in from your golf game or taking Dad out for lunch or whatever. It's Curtis Strange by 1 over British Open champion Nick Faldo, by 2 over young Mark O'Meara and D.A. Weibring. It seems to be shaping up, as you can see, into that 4-way battle, at least at the moment. But Paul Azinger, who finished with a 66, certainly not out of it quite. Larry Mize can help himself a lot. He's only played 11 holes. And here's O'Meara on the 14th par 5 hole, second shot.
227 yards to the front of the green. Mark went with his 3-wood, but he didn't hit it very well. He ran it through the first bunker near the green, and I think is in the rough.
But par 5 holes can be forgiving in the sense of making your par, but you're looking for a birdie there. Strange checking the wind again.
Curtis has changed clubs once, now twice, back to the original one. I would think that he's got a 6-iron out. He's 165 yards. The wind is sort of swirling, but he's downhill. I don't think he can hit a 5 unless he just plays a little cut.
That's the way he's lined up, Bob. He looks lined up well to the left, so it may be a cut shot in there.
Well, that's the way it looked like, but he left it out to the left. It's coming back to the middle of the green. Good shot.
So he's looking like the Strange of yesterday now.
Proper club selection there.
A look at the 11th hole, Dave.
It's a wonderful, hard par 4. It's a blind drive. The players drive over a hill there. Actually, it's a combination of 2 holes. If you ever come here to play, you won't play this particular golf hole. And if you drive in the rough, you've got to try to lay it up short of the lake there, unless you're very lucky, and over to this smallish green that you see with 2 bunkers. Very dangerous hole.
Combination of a par 4 hole and a par 3 hole. The little landing area just the other side of the pond is normally the green for the par 4. Sandy Lyle on the final hole, the Masters champion. 3 over for the championship, 2 over for today. And had his chance, led this championship. The only person, of course, with a chance at the fabled professional Grand Slam, which has never been achieved.
Leading money winner this year on tour, of course.
Jack Nicklaus is with us. Of course, I remember when you won the first 2, Jack, and seized the lead in the British Open by 1 at the end of 9 holes on the last day after trailing by 6 when the day began. That's as close as anybody's come.
Well, I had a good shot at it, Jim, and came down the end, and of course Trevino chipped the ball in at 17 at Muirfield, and that was it.
That was it. Do you see any advantage for anybody here, psychologically or otherwise, from here on?
Well, I think that, as I said a few minutes ago, I think Curtis has had his problems and seems to be settling down now. And while he had his problems, he didn't lose the lead. Nick has played awfully good golf, so it looks like it's the two of them that are going to play head-to-head coming down the stretch. But you can't overlook, obviously, O'Meara and Weibring. Of course, they're both ahead of him, and if they can get a score in and post a score, you never know.
The only one who's won a major championship of that group is Faldo. Does that make any difference?
Yeah, Faldo's the only one that's won a major, and of the leaders here, the ones that have a chance to win, none of them have ever won a U.S. Open, and
right.
So it's a new ball game for all of them.
What's their problem? What would Curtis's problem be? To keep his mind on the golf? I mean, how do you keep from watching a scoreboard, Jack? You've been there many times. You can get cluttered up thinking about all the players and all the possibilities.
Well, I think that's what Curtis did the front 9. I think the front 9, he was looking at scoreboards or himself and thinking of the U.S. Open, thinking of this, thinking of his problems, saying, why am I not making a putt? Why am I not doing this? Why am I having a bad break? You think of all those things, and all of a sudden the back 9, or there's a certain point in that round, if you have a chance to win, that you regroup yourself and all of a sudden say, hey, look what I am. I'm out here, I'm playing. I enjoy playing golf. I'm going to have fun and play, and I get settled, and I get organized, and then all of a sudden, boom, you start doing it the right way, and then you get on track, and you forget it's a U.S. Open, you forget about your problems, and you go about your business. And it looks like that's what he's doing right now.
And maybe it all started when he made that long putt at 7.
That certainly didn't hurt, did it?
Get the wheels back on this car here.
Another birdie chance here. Nope. Not this time. They are really doing a job on this golf course today, by the way, gentlemen. There are 19 players who either have finished or are out on the course under par today, and the most subpar rounds in a 4th round was 17 at Pebble Beach in 1982.
That's amazing, because that golf course, well, that must have been early play, because I think, Jack, now you won there in 82. That got harder as the day went on.
Well, I was one of the early players. I got out and got, I think I made 5 straight birdies on the front 9 there, and got out and ahead and had a chance to win the golf tournament until Tom chipped in at 17. But it's, why am I keep talking about all these guys chipping in?
That's right. On you.
Well,
okay, this is the par 5, 14th, O'Meara's 3rd shot.
Mark's got a shot of about 35 or 40 yards out of very deep rough between 2 bunkers at the left front of the green. Well, the rough was very thick, and he just did not carry the ball far enough.
And he needs a couple of birdies to catch up with Curtis at the moment. Faldo's birdie attempt would tie him for the lead in the 11th.
he needs something good to happen to him too. As Bob Rosberg just said, and Peter Allis, he's hit a lot of good shots. Now that's more what he was doing on the front side. The putt's just not the right speed. And you have some days like that, don't you, that the speed, Jack, gets you.
Well, what Nick did this the last round at the British Open last year. He was short and low almost every putt throughout the round, if you recall. Yet nobody made a charge at him. Now, if Nick continues to play this way and as solidly as he's playing, you know, somebody's going to have to beat him, and that's going to obviously have to be Curtis probably if that's going to happen. And but he's playing. He's not beating himself, but he's not actually helping himself either, though.
This is about as tough a par putt as he's had, I think. Most of them have been tap-ins.
What about putting out of the sun into the shadow, or putting from the shadow into the sun, Jack? What does that do to you?
Well, I think anytime you're putting with a change of light, it's more difficult. I think all of us would rather putt in the sun, and you sometimes have a hard time lining up the blade or getting it lined up towards the hole, and it does make it a little bit more difficult.
Side door, yeah.
Side door, but it's he got it in.
Mark O'Meara's birdie attempt, he was going for it. But he'll have that for the par 5, so he should stay at 5 under, 2 shots out of the lead.
I tell you, Jim, he really needed the birdie on this hole. I think that could have been the key.
Okay, now Curtis Strange still has to make his par here at the 11th.
He missed a very short putt at 17 yesterday and a short putt at 2 starting out today. It's about this length.
The key for any one of these golfers, any of the 4 they're leading, is obviously patience. And Judy was talking about Mark needing a birdie. Well, they all need birdies, but they all got to be patient right about this point.
All right. And of course, Strange and Faldo still have the difficult 12 and 13th to play, but they have that birdie opportunity that O'Meara has missed still ahead of them. D.A. Weibring now, remember, he's only 2 shots out still.
He's 183 yards. He's playing a 4-iron. Ideally, a little cut shot would be best with the pin on the right. He started it well to the left of the pin.
Okay, he's all right. 16th green, Steve Pates. Birdie putt. He's played himself into it today. Not with that one. Now back on the 13th fairway, Larry Mize's second shot coming up. Mize at 2 under now is 5 shots out of the lead. Hope is fading for him. He's 3 over on today's round.
He's playing a 5-iron, 180 yards. He's hit it well to the left. I think Larry's been going across the line at the top of his swing a little more than he normally does, and it's caused him some problems today.
Not the time to develop a small flaw.
He does a little of that in his swing anyhow, but usually makes a good enough move to get away with it.
Now the 12th hole, this is the blind second shot hole, 450 yards long. This is a tough one. Jack, we'll have a look at it.
Well, the 12th hole is probably one of the most awkward holes on the golf course. You drive the ball low on the fairway and then have to play a blind second shot going right to left. If you drive the ball on the right side of the fairway, you can play it in fairly straight. Left side of the fairway, you're blocked by the trees. It's a 2-level green and with a deep bunker on the right. It's a long, difficult hole and probably, obviously, one of the toughest on the course.
Well, let's see what the leaders can do with it.
And keep going, Curtis.
He has killed it right down the middle of the fairway, kind of left center, but just perfect.
Let's have a look at his swing, Dave.
All right, one thing that Curtis does when you watch him now, good posture there, is he'll move his body off the ball there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little bit of a sway in his swing, but that's when Curtis plays his best. Now you can see he's moved off of it. He'll move back to it a little, but his head is still behind the ball as he's driving through and under and up into a nice full finish. But one thing, if you looked at Curtis, you'd say, well, he's got a sway in his swing. When he doesn't sway, he doesn't play as well.
But he doesn't sway past the ball.
That's
only
right.
on the way back. Right?
Yes.
Now Faldo.
Come on, Nicky. Come around. Come on, Nicky.
That ball is up the right-hand side and barely going into, coming out of the rough.
Yeah, just bounced off that higher grass. Still could bother him a little bit on his backswing, depending on
I think his ball rolled into a divot there.
Think it did, Jack?
I think his ball rolled into a divot.
All the scoring going on, scoring central, like John Morris himself of the USGA, supervising there with the radio. And down there, the press room. Gee, looks like the war room or something, doesn't it?
It's the curling rink, isn't it?
Advanced telemarketing isn't a widget. It's a way that we can help you do what you're doing better. If you're having trouble right now in running your operation with reaching new markets, we can help expedite that. If you're having trouble right now understanding what it is that your products and services are missing, people aren't buying it and you're not quite sure why, we can help you understand that. We can help you improve your market share. That's when you call us.
The first name in copiers probably isn't the copier name you think of first, but it's a name that links speed and performance with uncompromising reliability and makes innovative technology simple to use. For meeting the needs of every size business, business relies on the most popular copiers in America. From personal to high-performance copiers, the choice is Canon. Call toll-free 1-800-OK-CANON.
Mercury, the cars that change the direction of the wind, directing the flow of the rushing air to help keep them firmly in contact with the road, letting the power of the wind help the driver control the car. Mercury, the cars that change the direction of the wind are changing the direction of automotive design.
Now get $500 to $1,000 customer cash from Lincoln Mercury on selected models.
A look down at Boston as we return to the United States Open Golf Championship, moving into the closing stages now. Will there be a winner today? Well, we're going to find out in the next hour to hour and a half. It's Curtis Strange by 1 over Nick Faldo right now, by 2 over Mark O'Meara and D.A. Weibring. Moving in on Bunker Hill. Remember, don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes and all that. Actually, the big battle, you know, was fought on nearby Breeds Hill. But Bunker Hill got the publicity, if you will. Now, we've got a rolling of some sort with Curtis. Rossi, what's going on?
Well, somebody in the gallery to the left is harassing Curtis. Curtis went over to the policeman, pointed him out. I did not hear what he said, but there has been some harassment, and the policeman's going to take care of this very quickly.
That does not happen around golf very often with the players or the gallery. Golf gallery's usually the most best behaved in sport, and that would appear to be the guy. At least that is a person that the policeman has chosen to talk with.
Well, Curtis pointed him out, and I'm sure that's the right fellow. No, they say no, that it isn't.
No, it's not the one.
I know who it is.
You know who it is, Jack?
Yeah, it's a fella that's been following Curtis and
Ben
and myself.
Really?
Yeah. He's got a nickname, and Kodiak Charles is what they call him. And the fella is, you know, I think we've had restraining orders on him in several places. He's the fella is not well.
Yeah. He just says what, nasty things, or?
He just doesn't. He's just not there.
He calls your house, I heard, or Ben
calls everything.
Calls
shows up at the offices. Shows up. Calls Curtis. I'm afraid the fella's just not totally there.
Oh boy, life in the public eye has its definite drawbacks. Kind of scary. Well, and this in the middle of the U.S. Open. Mark O'Meara on the 15th.
109 yards over that bunker with a wedge.
Okay, now Curtis trying to get his concentration back with a blind shot on 12. Can't see the flagstick at all.
That's a beautiful golf shot in there, about 18 or 20 feet to the right of the hole. That was from 185 yards. Now, Jack Nicklaus was right in saying that Faldo's ball caught a divot. It's the divot that has been filled in, but it is sitting down a little, and it's certainly not the kind of lie you'd want to have to play a shot like he has to play. He doesn't have to get the ball up real quickly, but there is a lot of rough just in front of the green on the left edge where the pin is situated today.
They seem to have gotten rid of the heckler, do they?
Yes, he is gone.
The
170 yards, Jim.
Okay. Blind shot to the green.
Sounded
Came
as
off
if he
it.
caught it. Not bad, just a little outside of Curtis's there, Bob. Sounded as though he caught it solid. Now, Curtis is going to get a good read from Faldo here.
Let's go up to 18 to see Hale Irwin finish. He's twice former champion. Putting for a par. He's 1 over for the championship. And even for today's round, if he makes this putt.
Get in!
Oh, boy. He did it. Round of 71 for Hale Irwin. A good reception from the crowd in the grandstand here who have been in place for hours and hours. Look at that. 371s and a 72.
There's a fellow who's brought his game back. Hale's been not playing well for the last couple of years, and he's now brought it back. He played well at the Memorial Tournament, and he's played well here.
Isn't that a beautiful sight?
I just got to change about it.
D.A. Weibring on the 14th tee. This is the par 5, the birdie opportunity for him. He's 2 behind.
Good ball. Hit hard. Big bounce. Go!
Jim, he's hit a very good drive down the left side of the fairway. Can get very close to this green if not on.
Okay. Okay, a good solid look at the leaderboard now. Strange by 1 over Faldo, by 2 still over O'Meara and Weibring, by 3 over Steve Pate. He's not out of it quite. Paul Azinger finished with his 66 today. Looks like he can't do it. Let's go over now again to Jack Whitaker and Peter Allis.
Thank you, Jim. And it's still up for grabs, this championship of 1988.
Yes, it certainly is, Jack. And as Jack Nicklaus was saying, Faldo is doing exactly what he did in the British Open last year. He's parred every hole, but nobody's really met, except for Curtis Strange, of course, who's in the driving seat.
Larry Mize at the 14th.
He's one of the top players who's let things slip away today. Scott Simpson, another one, they're now down to just 1 and 2 under.
This is the 15th green, and Mark O'Meara.
This putt's just a little bit better than 15 feet, actually putting back uphill at the hole. Very little break.
And that left for par. Mark 2 shots off the lead with the 16th, 17th, and 18th ahead. Now Steve Pate, 4 under for the day, one of many people who in red figures. But those who have really fired were too far behind.
It's been very good scoring today, though, Jack, hasn't there? Plenty of scores under 70. An interesting little punch shot.
Marvelously interesting little punch shot. Now Nick Faldo, yet another birdie attempt to tie for the lead.
He's got to start holing 1 or 2 of these. He's had a reasonable putt on 70% of the holes he's played and hasn't really had one in.
That's about as close as he's come, too, with that putt. And another par for Nick Faldo to remain 1 shot behind Curtis Strange. 12 straight pars.
Well, we've been saying about this 12th hole being the most difficult, or one of the most difficult on the course, Jack, and Curtis Strange has had 2 threes, 2 birdies and a par. So, and he's got a short putt here, shortish putt here for another birdie. If he were to get it, what a way to play this hole. 3 birdies and a par if he can hold this putt. So,
all right, while we're waiting for Curtis, let's see Curtis again. Now here's Mark O'Meara in for par at 15. Stayed 2 shots behind. And now Curtis, which would give him a 2-shot lead.
well, he would have seen the way that Faldo's ball just fell away right to left when it got to the hole. So I reckon he'll try and aim this nice and firmly just down the right side.
Oh. Yeah, but
Would you believe that? He can't believe it, but it's still above ground, and that's a par 4. 2 birdies and 2 pars at this 12th hole for Curtis Strange, and if he wins this championship, I would suggest that this, above any other hole, was the one that did it for him.
Larry Mize at the 14th fairway.
Jack, he's got a 4-wood, and he's got 244 yards to the hole, about 226 or 7 to the front of the green, so he can get there. He's on a downhill lie, and that's the only thing that makes this shot difficult. He's hit it to the right side, depending on the bounce, and it's in the right rough just short of the green, but he should be in good position for a 4.
Larry Mize at par 5. Now Mark O'Meara at 16, par 3.
181 yards today. That was a 6-iron.
Another opportunity for Mark. Playing with Fred Couples. Now the leader, Curtis Strange.
This hole playing downhill and into the wind today. Playing a little differently than it has in the past this week. And he has killed it down the right-hand side. Better stop right now. He doesn't want it to go any farther than that.
Oh, watch it.
And that is not too good. He's going to have a little trouble with his backswing. The club is going to get caught in that fringe when he takes it back.
Here's a look at the 13th. Elevated tee. The water on the right. Now Nick Faldo. Ten for 10. Imagine he's hit every green too, hasn't he? No, he missed the par 3, 7.
That's a good shot coming right down the middle of the fairway. Beautiful. Perfect position.
Nick Faldo, 1 shot behind Curtis Strange. There's the second shot in, and here it is from the air. Jack?
Well, the 13th hole is one of the nicest holes on the golf course. You tee off from a very elevated tee. You're driving downhill to this plateau that sort of breaks off, and right where Curtis's ball stopped on the right is where it breaks off, and it goes down to the lake. The lake is not really a factor on the tee shot. The green is open in the front. The slopes left to right, and from the back to the front, the green does. And you want to keep the ball underneath the hole to have a good shot at birdie.
All right, Jack, thank you. This is Steve Pate up at the 17th. To get to 5 under. He's further away now than he was before.
It was a strange one, wasn't it? I think you're right, Jack, too. He is further away. Big cheer for Billy Mayfair, who just finished up the amateur champion. He finished with 4-round total of 4 over. That's 288, though. That's 4 rounds equivalent to 72 each time. So he must be very pleased with that. In fact, here he was, just tapping in at the 18th. He's 4 over. In fact, this was for a birdie. So he finished... he got round in less than 72, average less than 72, and that's very good golf indeed from this young amateur.
And he'll defend his amateur title at Hot Springs, Virginia in August, or in September. D.A. Wybring. 2 shots off the lead.
DA and Larry have been notified by the USGA that they are a little behind in their times, and they have played the second and third shots very, very quickly to try to catch up.
All right, Ed, Steve Pate made his par at the 17th. All right, let's go down to Judy Rankin.
Well, Bob O'Meara, on Father's Day, we've decided to even put you on camera.
I appreciate it.
We could certainly use the birdie here. At 16, we don't want to run out of holes, right?
Judy, I got to tell you, I'm getting nervous. It's the first time in a while. Last time I got nervous like this, I think, is when he won the U.S. Amateur. And this time, I'm getting nervous. I've been very calm while he's been on the tour for the last couple of years. But this is a big event, and it's exciting, and I guess I'm just nervous, like any father would be on this kind of an occasion.
Well, he has a very good chance here at 16, so let's see if we can get one in the hole.
I hope so.
All right, Judy, thank you. Mr. O'Meara and son Mark. This will put him at 6 under. Oh my.
Too many of those.
He's had some chances that have slipped by today, no doubt.
Well, he birdied 17 yesterday, so I hope maybe.
He's birdied 17 the last 2 days.
Yes. Right.
We need one more of those,
One
Bob.
more. That'd
Okay.
be great. Thanks, Judy.
All right, Mark Merrill remains at 5 under, and on videotape, Nick Faldo at 13.
Jack, he ballooned that ball up into the air. It got very high. The wind just knocked it right down. Way short of the green. Curtis does not have as tough a shot as I thought. After looking at it, he can take the club back the same as he would any other time. He's 150 yards from the hole, into the wind, slightly downhill. I would think a little 7-iron, just a nice smooth 7.
Lovely shot. Splendid. Another opportunity for the leader, Curtis Strange, to increase that lead. And here's the last U.S. Open winner, Julius Boris, to the right there in the players' locker room. We'll be back after this word from from our local stations. Here's Mark O'Meara on videotape while we were away at the 17th. Par birdie birdie the first 3 rounds. And as we were discussing earlier, a birdie would be devoutly wished now.
Oh.
In bunker. Now back at 13. Faldo.
Yeah, crunch shot here, Jack. Chip and a putt needs to be down in 2 or 1. 1 would help. Ooh.
Ho hum, another par, huh? Now we're live with Curtis Strange at the 13th after a splendid approach shot.
Yeah, I think if Curtis holds this, if he gets this in the hole, barring great accidents, he should win the championship. He's giving the others a chance.
Okay. Good par. Now O'Meara at the 17th.
That was from almost 140 yards with a 9-iron. He was very close to the lip. What a good shot, short of the green. He just could not take a club that would allow him to get it over the lip, but that was a really good play. He has a chance to make a par from there.
Very historic hole, the 17th. Mark was in the second bunker there, which was put in for the 1963 Open. Not the famous Varden bunker, which is behind it, as you see. This is, as we said, a tremendously historic hole and has affected 2 of the Opens that have been played here prior to this.
The director of golf at Stratford-on-Avon once said that some golf holes are born great, some acquire greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. The 17th hole at the Country Club had greatness thrust upon it. In the 1913 Open, in the final round, Francis Ouimet hit a fine drive and a second shot 20 feet past the hole and made the putt for a birdie, which enabled him to tie Barden and Ray. In the playoff, when they reached the 17th tee, Varden trailed Ouimet by 1 stroke and tried to bite off a good bit of the dogleg. His drive found this bunker, which today carries his name. There's the Varden grip and the Varden bunker. From this bunker, Harry took a bogey 5, Francis birdied the hole, and for all intents and purposes, the championship was over. 50 years later, Tony Lema bogeyed the 17th to lose a chance to tie. Arnold Palmer also took a 5, missing an 18-inch putt that cost him the chance to win the title outright. Jackie Cupid, needing only a par and a bogey to win, hit his drive just short of the Varden bunker in heavy rough. From there, he double bogeyed the hole and subsequently lost in the playoff with Palmer and Julius Boris. Boris took only 1 putt at 17, which put him in the playoff against Palmer and Cupid. He, of course, won. The 17th waits patiently this week, its greatness thrusting at some unsuspecting golfer, stroking his way to the United States Open Championship.
And Curtis Strange still has the 17th ahead of him, of course, moving along with a 1-shot lead at the moment over Nick Faldo. And at 17, here is Mark O'Meara, his 3rd shot.
Got to get down in a pitch and a putt from here, Jack, to really do anything, and that's a beautiful shot.
What a beautiful shot.
Lovely shot, that, Judy.
Now Nick Faldo at the 14th tee. Par 5.
Beautiful drive, right down the right-hand side of the fairway, rolling well down into the swale. Very reachable from there.
Here is Steve Pate having a remarkable day at the home hole from the bunker on videotape. Playing partner Clarence Rose, and look at this. Oh, what a lovely shot. Goes Steve Pate, 67 today. Final late-minute charge. Now the leaderboard at the moment as we are getting down to the nitty-gritty. Curtis Strange, 1 shot over Nick Faldo, 2 from O'Meara and Weibring. Stephen Pate just finished 3 shots behind the leader at the moment. And there, Azinger with a marvelous round today. Lanny Watkins, who started something and then fell back. Amateur Bill Mayfair, the only one to make the cut. D.A. Weibring now for a birdie at the 15th.
Hit a great 8-iron to get here. Very difficult pin placement just over the bunker. D.A. has had many opportunities on this back 9, quite a few putts of that length, and just hasn't been able to get them to drop.
Remains 5 under par. The leaders are over at 14, and Bob, you said they both can reach it?
Yes, both of them have driven beautifully down the fairway. Curtis Strange is 230 yards to the flag. Nick Faldo, 220.
Here is the hole, snaking its way. Uphill to the green. And reachable today in 2 by our 2 leaders, Strange and Faldo. Curtis Strange has had already some singular success here at this hole. This was his 3rd shot on Thursday in the opening round on this par 5 hole. Can't make it better than that. Now we're live. That indeed started him off. He was even par up to that point, and that was the springboard to get him where he is right now.
Pretty good wind behind the players. I believe this is a 3-iron from Curtis. He wants to get it up in the air.
Get out. Come on, get out. Get out.
Beautiful shot right on the front of the green, just short.
Now rolling
Here it comes
down.
back. That's where the triplex mowing of the fairways doesn't help.
Oh, look at it, still moving, huh?
It's going to be all the way at the bottom.
I think that's totally unfair in the game of golf, to take and shave the front of a green so it does that.
So a moment ago, he was up on the putting surface, and
he's played a beautiful shot, and to shave the front there to let it do that, I think is wrong.
pretty stiff penalty, huh?
Here's Nick Faldo. He's got a perfect angle, coming a little more from the right-hand side of the fairway than Curtis did, and maybe a little easier to get to this flag, which is on the left, 17 yards deep.
All right, we can report O'Meara parred the 17th to remain at 5 under as we watch Faldo.
That ball's to the right, way to the right. Into the bunker.
Here's the shot he'll have.
Well, he's doing his best to get another par, Jack.
Yes.
He's had a bit of a frustrating year, Faldo. He's been second 3 times on the European Tour.
at the 16th, D.A. Weibring.
That's a 5-iron, 181 yards.
In the hole. Right stick. In the hole. Yeah. Where's the crowd? React. Come on, crowd.
Tickles through. Now at 18, Mark O'Meara.
Jack, this ball was down the right side and just jumped into the right rough.
All right. In the right rough at 18 for Mark O'Meara. That's his shot there. And here is Curtis Strange's second shot again. Let's watch it.
I think Jack's got a very valid point here because he struck that ball very well. It gets just about a foot on the green, doesn't it? And then and it goes back, what, 20 or 30 yards, Jack? Something like that.
Looks like it went back at least that far.
Yeah. And that could be a big turning point for him. I mean, he may chip up and miss the putt. Faldo's in the bunker, of course, but well, it could change the face of this championship.
You look at it in all fairness, who played the better shot?
Yeah.
And I think that Curtis played the best shot. He knocked it on the green. Nick has knocked it in the bunker. Nick has a much easier shot than Curtis.
Yeah.
All right, we have Frank Anigan, the Senior Executive Director of the USGA here. You've heard that comment, Frank, about the condition there. Any response?
Well, it wasn't shaved deliberately. It's just cut at fairway height. That's the way the land is here. It's very, very steep. You'd have to create an artificial condition actually to hold the ball up there. You have to let it grow to short rough or let it grow to 2 or 3 times the fairway height to cut it. That's I think that's the way this hole is set up. Curtis knew he had to carry it up to the green to keep it there.
All right.
So there, Jack.
I still don't agree with it.
Now he's you're quite right. He's come back a long way, and of course he can't really see the green. He can see all the flag, most of the flag. This is going to call for a very good pitch and a putt. Now, will it roll back again? Could do.
Now maybe he'll get a little bit back.
Yes, he's played some good pitches into this hole. The 12th and the 14th have been quite kind to Curtis, as he holds the record at St Andrews in Scotland with an incredible 62 that he scored at last year's Dunhill Cup, which will be on again in October.
Here we are at the back 16, D.A. Weibring.
DA in the short rough has all the green to work with. It's just going to have to judge the speed with which the ball will come out of that grass.
Faldo at 14. Another birdie putt, Peter.
Well, yes, but he got a little bit too much sand there. It was on the upslope maybe, but he won't be overly pleased with that.
All right, one of the fine rounds here today, of course, turned in by young Steve Pate. And here is Dave Marr.
Stephen, that's just great play, and it's been quite a year for you. And if you'd have made that shot out of the bunker at the last hole, who knows what may have happened.
Yeah, it would have been nice to post a number 1 or 2 less, but played real well today. I'm happy with the way I played. You know, could have been a little better. I missed some short putts, but I made a couple bombs, so I guess I can't be real disappointed.
Well, what happened on 17? You hit a marvelous shot. You played in there, and you had a hard putt, I know, down the hill, but it just got away from you real quick. There in 14 also.
Yeah, well, 14, I thought I hit a decent putt. It just didn't break. 17 was real fast. I just watched Clarence Rose putted about 10 feet by from above the hole, and had a couple spike marks in front of me and just never really had a good attitude and made a pitiful stroke and never had a chance.
Well, that's still good playing, and happy Father's Day to you. I know Nicole can't say it. She's brand new, but good luck to you rest of the year.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, back here at the 14th, Nick Faldo. 13 straight pars.
This is a par 5, of course, the 14th, and just trying to gather his thoughts here because he's had 13 pars. Most of the other players, Curtis Strange has had 2 or 3 birdies, 2 or 3 bogeys, but Faldo's kept plodding away. He hasn't holed a putt. He's had probably five putts this length now, many of them, most of them for birdies, and he hasn't got one, or hasn't had one in.
This is the easiest one that he's had, though, Peter.
Straight up at it, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got straight up and breaks a little right to left. If he's going to make one, this is the one he better make. He seemed to do that all through the British Open. Low, low.
Nick Faldo has that for yet another par. Mark O'Meara at 18.
Mark has 163 yards to the hole. He does not have a good lie. He's taken a 7-iron out. I tell you, it's kind of hard to get your perspective on this hole. The entire green and the flag are covered in shadows. He saw this lie in the rough when he walked up here, and he just shook his head.
Well, if he pars out, he'll post the highest score, or the lowest score.
Well, he put the 7-iron back and took an 8-iron out.
Okay.
Well, we went back to the 7-iron. He has a lie where it's going to be very difficult to keep the ball in the air long enough to carry the front bunker.
He'd be better off putting the ball in the bunker, though, Judy, than leaving it short, I think.
And that jumped out of the bunker and into the rough, I think.
Yes, it's just in the little tongue between the two bunkers. That's left him a very awkward shot because the ball seemed to dive and run right into the thick, clumpy grass where that, just short of the rake. You can see it there. I think it's about a yard up from the edge of the sand.
But he still has a better shot there than if he'd pitched it out short of the bunker.
Oh, yeah. I think certainly a better shot if it'd been in the sand, though, Jack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Mark O'Meara at 5 under at the 18th, and here is D.A. Weibring at 5 under at the 17th tee.
That was with a 3-wood, and it's down the left side.
And in the rough. Leaderboard. Steve paid in at 4 under. Weibring, O'Meara, Faldo, and Strange still on the course. This was Curtis's attempt for birdie at 14 on videotape.
Well, he's keeping Faldo in the hunt, isn't he? Faldo taps in. He's not taking charge of the championship. No, nobody is at the top of the leaderboard. They're just sort of
An
treading
automatic
water.
pilot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Curtis Strange missing a few chances to increase that lead, but still holding a slim margin over Faldo, 2 over O'Meara and Weibring. Everybody else is home. Of any consequence, Scott Simpson still out at 3 under, 4 shots off the lead. And Bob Gilder, who was among the leaders for all 3 rounds, dropping 5 shots off the lead now.
Now the leader at the 15th.
Yes, this hole hasn't been as kind to him as the 12th or the 14th. You remember one day he hit a poor tee shot down the left-hand side and did very well to escape with a 5.
I wonder if that goes through his mind now. Want to block it out anyway, never mind.
That ball is just short of the road in the short rough. It may be in the ground under repair down there. I'm not close enough to see, but there is ground under repair just short of that road where he will be able to drop back in the fairway.
It's 434 yards from an elevated tee. There's the road. Curtis is right there on the right side near the road. Another small green. Nick Faldo, who's bringing new meaning to the word par.
He's hit the ball very straight today, I must say, but his putting hasn't been too positive.
He's only missed 2 greens today. He missed the 2nd green and the 7th green, both par 3s. And he did miss those 2, but he, as Jack said, he's played very, very well. That one's right down the middle. I believe that was a fairway club because he's well short of the road. Hold's playing downwind today.
Bob, that road is playing as an obstruction and not ground under repair. And the white lines there really, and so you don't go to your nearest relief, but they keep it, take it behind the obstruction in play. And that's the way they have it defined for the week.
I see.
There's the shot into 15 that'll face them, and here is at 18, Mark O'Meara. This is on videotape.
Well, Jack, as you said, he would have been better off in the bunker. He walked by me and was hoping the ball was in the bunker.
Now D.A. Wybring, 17th. Greenside bunker. So Mark O'Meara at 5 under, as is Wybring at the moment, but Mark facing this rather daunting putt to keep there. 5 under on the home hole. See his wife and father looking on.
Very tough putt. You get a red light? Of course we do. We do. I don't know.
That left for bogey.
That's helped Faldo a bit too, and Wybring now must get down in 2 from this bunker.
He's got a good lie, Peter. It's just the pressure of the situation now that makes it difficult.
It certainly does, Ed. Trying to be a little too fancy, very quick down the green once the ball gets on the onto the green. Just trying to be too fancy, a little edgy.
So O'Meara slipping away, and Wybring perhaps going to lose one. That leaves this man as the closest pursuer to Curtis Strange. discussing the ruling. I guess that you were talking about Jack Nicklaus. And
I hit the ball there on the second round, and my nearest relief was to the right in the rough. But because they determined it an obstruction, they can bring the ball back in the fairway to the nearest point.
He will definitely get to drop the ball in the fairway then, if that is the case.
What's he getting relief from there, Bob?
Well, the road and the rough around it has been marked off as an obstruction, a temporary obstruction, as Jack explained, and he will get relief, and I believe into the fairway. Nick Faldo is 165 yards from the hole after laying back with that fairway club, but he's got a beautiful angle to come in. The pin is cut to the right today, 11 yards back on the green. Probably has 160 to not fool around with that bunker.
looks a bit like the British Open there with the gallery behind now. Don't see that too often at our tournaments here in this country. Final group of the day.
Small target. As Bob says, he can just float it into the flag. Must be good.
It's right at it.
Oh my. Well, he's been doing it all afternoon, hasn't he?
Now would be a good time to hole a putt or two.
D.A. Weibring at 17. He has that left for bogey. And here at 18 was Mark O'Meara for bogey. So Mark finishes at 4 under, tied with Stephen Pate. Now there are 3 left. Weibring, Faldo, and Strange.
Weibring's going to drop a stroke at 17th. It looks certainly a battle between Strange and Faldo.
And again, that 17th hole may play a big, big part.
I just grabbed this. It's either this or the 9.
Curtis is 140 yards. I think he's going to take an 8-iron. The wind is coming behind and from the right.
Has he had a good drop? Oh, yes.
Yes, beautiful drop, Peter. He's got a great lie. It's a real dry there, and he can really nip the ball off this type of lie.
Coming in, though, over that bunker. Not a lot of room there, Bob.
No, there isn't too much room over that bunker, but anything hooking, I think. You know, I think if anything, he doesn't want to lose it to the right, that's for sure.
Also, a little bit more pressure with Faldo's ball nestling up there within 8 to 10 feet, it looks, of the hole.
I think this green has held better than most of the greens all week, so I think he's got plenty of room to stop it.
This is right at it also.
Quite enough.
So Faldo and Strange on at the 15th. Strange leading Faldo by 1 shot, and will return in a moment.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? I think see what's happening other than just see the golfer swinging himself. Yeah, I like that. That was a good camera angle on that one. Where you could see everything. Yeah.
Okay. Minus 13 the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Oh.
Not on that golf course.
You bet.
Jeez.
I think that's really what got him set up for this, don't you?
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it.
Remember how zipped he was up there?
Yeah, he was all charged up.
I know what to do with you, Judy.
Lakers by 3. Yeah, fine. That's just
Well, all right, Nick, it's up to you now. Should we go tomorrow?
Yep.
While we were away, Curtis for birdie at 15 to go 8 under. So Faldo is still very much alive.
Well, we keep saying it, Jack, but he hasn't held a putt yet, and this isn't very far away.
Now he keeps having shorter ones every hole.
Yeah.
He's playing very well.
Yes.
At long last, he gets one in. And a good moment to do it. It's real match play stuff over these final few holes, Jack. Curtis with a nasty putt that you wouldn't give in a match play tournament that he's got to hold now to take to stay level with Faldo. And just 3 holes left to play. A classic match play situation.
We're going back to the Ryder Cup, Peter.
Yeah,
that's right. Absolutely, Jack.
I don't think these two played each other in the Ryder Cup, but I'm sure they both played their hearts out when they were there.
In for par, and we have co-leaders. Faldo 7 under, Curtis Strange 7 under. Will return after this message and a word from our local station. Well, let's see. He's practically gone, huh? Gone. Just the 2.
Only 2 in it now, unless Wybring can get a 3 at the last. 7 under.
It's what it was at 36 holes, wasn't it?
That's what we said.
Good try.
It's good playing.
The O'Meara lad is here. Yes, it's here.
Now.
Stay solid.
14 pars and a birdie.
Got to hit the green now, Jack.
You've got to hit it on the green.
Gotta hit it. Must get it on the green.
It's got it slightly downwind, a little bit left to right.
Yeah. He's got to finish three. Both of them have got to aim at 3-4-4, haven't they? 3-4-4 finish.
I think that, yeah, they're probably playing 6-iron here. I think 17 with that pin placement is probably the most difficult of the final 3 holes. And I think the tournament might get settled there if it will be settled today.
Yeah.
It's going to get settled today. At least the most likely place to have it settled.
Nick Faldo at the 16th. Oh, he's lost it way right. In the front bunker, and I believe plugged.
Well, we were just talking, Jack Nicklaus and Peter Ellis here, that they had to hit the green here.
We felt that a little bit downwind, a little bit left to right, that they needed to hit the green here. This is probably, of the shots to the green in the last 3 holes, this is the easiest one. And, Nick has not hit it where he wanted to, obviously.
No, the job for both players here is to finish with 3 pars. If they happen to do better than that, fine. But they're not long holes. They're tricky holes. The 17th particularly. But there's only a drive and a short iron. Drive and a 7 or 8 iron down the last hole. A 6 iron here. 7 iron. 6 iron. Just needs a bit of clean, straight hitting.
Curtis knocked in the bunker yesterday to the right. If that gets up, it's good.
Oh, fired through the green.
Oh,
very, very warm.
What a bad break that was.
Just really took off, didn't it?
Hit the downslope just over the bunker and shot.
D.A. Weibring a moment ago. Now, D.A. 4 under coming down 18.
Good shot. He's played very well, Weibring, today. He's 1 over par, but he's played very steadily.
Now we're live at 18, Larry Mize. That, we're told, is his 4th shot.
Yes, Jack, he was buried on his 3rd shot there, and he couldn't, he just moved it a little ways in the bunker. That was his 4th shot.
So Larry started out with high hopes today at 5 under and will finish at level par if he makes this putt. But here it is between Strange and Faldo. Now at the 16th, the par 3, then the 17th and 18th par 4s. And we're at the 18th green now. If Weibring can sink this, he would post a 5 under. Two shots behind Strange and Faldo at the moment. Long look.
Come on, baby. Get in.
A little louder. Now that'll be a par for D.A. He'll finish tied with O'Meara and Pate at 4 under, and now it's up to these 2 gentlemen. Nick Faldo, 16th.
He has a near impossible shot here. The only way he could get this ball close would be to land it in the fringe, in the deep fringe. He's buried on sort of a downside downslope, and the pin is only 12 feet on the green. So if he lands it over the long fringe, it's going to go on 15, 20 feet by the hole.
Not where you want to be any time, but especially now. He's not had a bogey since the 4th hole yesterday. 26 pars and 3 birdies.
Both fellas got awfully bad breaks on their shots here.
Yeah, this is hit and hope, and sometimes they come off, and sometimes disaster strikes. Little stab and hope for the best.
That's as good as he could do. That ball's about 20 feet by the hole. Curtis does not have a very good lie. He rolled into he's in the short grass, but he's going to have to pitch it with a very lofted club. And he's got a lot of green, probably 45, 50 feet of green.
Yeah, we could have some very interesting moments here with the 17th looming ahead. Now, Pate, O'Meara, and Weibring are finished at 4 under. Strange and Faldo at the moment 7 under.
Oh, he didn't hit it at all. That ball is going to be outside of Nick's, I believe. And Nick will putt first, but that was a very sort of weak shot, but out of a terrible lie.
Well, they're both giving comfort to the other, aren't they?
They are, they certainly are. Yep.
In all fairness to them, they haven't given much comfort all day. They both have played very well.
Yes, they have, anyway.
Well, he's holed longer putts than this in his time, and so has Curtis Strange. Missed shorter ones, mind you, so it would be pretty good if both of them hold. Asking a lot at this moment. I suppose the bookies would give you odds on 2 putts each. Come.
Come on, Curtis, one time. Go, Curtis. One time, Curtis.
All right, at the 18th, Scott Simpson.
Hit in a 5-iron from 168. They're just trying to stop the bleeding at this point. Scott 3 over par at this point for today. 3 under for the tournament. That's a good-looking shot, but it's a little bit long.
Scott Simpson, defending champion, now back to the 16th.
What a putt to hole there. What a time to do it.
Oh, what a timely putt.
I think he learned an awful lot from watching Nick's putt. You would have expected Nick's putt to do a little bit more breaking, and Curtis watched it. Boy, he hit a beautiful putt. That's the way he's been playing all year, though, when he's taken advantage of the situation.
Yeah, it was a 20-foot, 25-footer, wasn't it? I mean, it was a terrific putt to hole.
Look at that reaction.
Faldo, of course, has a tricky little putt here. He's got to give this his full attention.
And Curtis Strange leads by 1 shot. We'll be right back. Jeez.
I'll see you on the 9th, Terry. See you on the 9th. Give me a ring when you get in.
Well, I don't have to get over there for a while. I'm going to watch this, huh? This may be important.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd want to watch this.
Could be fairly important.
Yeah.
Finish it.
The historic 17th, eh?
That's it.
Boy, that was some fun, wasn't it? Huh?
You hear me, Rossi?
Yes.
How long do you think that putt was?
About 20 feet.
Could be important at 17 and 18.
He had to go to school, didn't he, Rossi?
Yeah, he did.
Where's he hit that?
That is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Bounced in the rough just by that second bunker and went right out in the middle of the fairway.
Hey, Peter. Satellite. They hear all this.
He's driven the ball perfectly today, I think. Fowler's just played terrific. Just played fabulous golf.
He's hit the most fairways. He was leading fairways going off today.
He hadn't missed one, has he? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
May not have.
He's just played fabulously. He's been all around the hole all day long. He's been inside 15 feet 10 times today, and he's only made 1 putt. Just played fabulous.
And you keep Jack open for the rest of great. Yeah.
Okay. Sure you do.
We're back here now, and while we were gone, the tee shots were hit by Faldo and Strange at the 17th. Here they are, videotape.
Good ball. Good ball. Yeah, stay there.
Perfectly placed, left side of the fairway.
He carried that bunker, and it was 240 yards to carry that bunker from where he was. And the wind has sort of died a little bit, so he was able to carry it. Faldo's going to go around the bunker, though.
With an iron, huh? Well, he's been almost letter perfect striking the ball today, hasn't he?
I don't recall him missing a fairway, and he's had it inside 10 or 12 feet, 15 feet, just a number of times. He's been played very, very well.
Also in the fairway, Curtis Strange is 7 under, Nick Faldo is 6 under. They're on the 17th, and to take the drama from here, Jim McKay.
Thank you very much, Jack. There you see it. It's mano a mano, just these two, and they've been at it ever since the first hole. If you haven't been with us all this long afternoon, the day began with Strange 1 shot ahead of Faldo, Bob Gilder, and defending champion Scott Simpson. Gilder and Simpson have faded during the afternoon. At one point during the front 9, Faldo took the lead in a tie with D.A. Weibring. Strange was behind. Later, he caught up, took the lead on the 15th hole. Faldo here holed a birdie putt, his first of the day, to tie it, and then on the last hole fell behind again.
That was from 145 yards. It's coming back down the hill. That is not a very good break right there. That ball's coming all the way back to the front edge of the green, so he's going to be 45, 50 feet from the hole. Curtis is 117 yards to the flag. Hit a tremendous drive. He told me earlier that he had not really decided how to play the 17th hole, but he hit a good drive yesterday. Had trouble with it the first 2 days, but he's hit a perfect drive today. I would think he'd play a little 9-iron here. I wouldn't think he'd try and jump on a wedge.
Most historic hole on the golf course. Francis, we met in 1913, birdied it in the 4th round, and again in the playoff, when at the age of 20, he beat the 2 most famous golfers in the world, Arden and Ray of England.
Well, I tell you what's running through his mind right now is that he does not want to leave it short, nor does he want to have any chance of being long. And that part of the green up there is very, very small. He's just, it's not a shot that you really want to have with a 1-shot lead, because there's just not much room to play to.
That's just a little 9-iron. Beautiful looking shot.
Yes, it is. Is he on his way to his first major championship, to winning the U.S. Open? We're going to find out in the next few minutes.
Those are the shots that champions are made of.
That's right.
They make champions.
And they make champions. That's right. Boy, I tell you,
What a shot.
What a great shot that was. That's the best shot he's played in the whole tournament.
Yes, Thomas.
With that shot, it's going to allow him to play the last hole the way he wants to play the last hole, not having to struggle with it.
Yeah, hard, that's a 3-putt. Sorry.
Yeah, we're having a party which we'd all like you to come to at about 8 o'clock in the members' hospitality area in World Tennis Court. Bring you and
Okay.
Chuck and Ed McDonough and
We get lots of
everybody else.
walk-ups today, eh?
If they realized how small that green really is back there.
Really is. Tucked in the corner.
Smaller than any other green on the golf course by far.
Yeah.
Cupping areas are almost non-existent.
The hole cut where it is today makes it small.
Oh, yeah. Just hardly anything there.
Bless you, might get hit by a car back there.
That's right.
Right on the road.
Goes to Francis.
Or
We
one
met
good
him.
bounce and you hit a car.
That's right. I was leading, I got run over.
Yes.
But I won't know what happened if I go now.
He will be. What are they chanting? Well, the ancient cliche phrase, shadows are lengthening, but that's how it got that way. That's when major things happen in great sports events. And everybody trying to follow the two men now. Curtis Strange, the leader, Nick Faldo, one stroke behind. To the 17th green, tucked away in the corner, just across the street from Francis Ouimet's house.
As we said so often yesterday, this is a rebuilt green, so it's a little bit different speed than the others. And the one thing Nick cannot afford to do now is to three-putt this green.
That chanting you hear is up on 18. They can't.
I think the chanting, Jim, is because of something about the basketball game.
Could
I think
be.
they were saying beat LA.
Well, maybe Detroit won. We don't have the word. At any rate, that's up on 18, but you say it's not loud enough to bother them on 17.
I don't believe so.
Okay. You're out there. You would know. Well, they came out to have a good time today. They're having that, but some rather important work still to be done.
Well, later on, these players will look back at this as a good time. Right now, it's excruciating.
It's the most fun times of their life.
That's right. I can tell you that, Jack.
That's right.
Win or lose. Huh?
Win or lose.
That's right. You never forget these afternoons. Look at this.
Beautiful putt.
That may have been his best putt of the day there.
And that was a very good putt because that was really a slow putt.
All right, he marks the ball. Curtis Strange's second shot is certainly worth another look. It could well be the shot that wins this championship, right, Jack?
I think so. I think that he is probably the most difficult shot he's had to play today, and he's played it as well, if not better, than any shot he's played today. The chances of not, if you miss the shot from there, don't end up over the green or short of the green, right or left, you just really end up with an almost impossible situation. That's just a great, great shot.
Dave, you were saying while we were away at the commercial, it's the kind of shot that makes champions, but it's certainly the kind of shot that champions make.
That's right. He played a shot back into such a small area that had enough nerve and skill. That's from all the years of practice and work. I mean, it all comes together finally. They've been on Curtis because he has not won a major championship. They say all he's done is win money. And I think winning Jack's tournament at Memorial this year, but he told me the 3-iron he played against Greg Norman at 18 in the Houston tournament, where he birdied that tough last hole there, got him started. And of course, playing Greg, who many consider maybe the best player in the world, you can argue, many of the American players feel this man is the best player in the world.
Well, now Faldo has put it in the hole for his par. He has the par. He's 6 under. Curtis can go 8 under with this putt.
Plus, it would give him a 2-stroke lead, and then he can play 18 as he wants to play it. This is where he 3-putted yesterday.
Fast coming down there. Look out. Hold it.
Oh, boy. Yesterday, he said he tried to force the putt in the hole. You remember, Jack, when he said that? And that's what caused him to 3-putt. Now,
he didn't try to force that, Dave.
No.
That's just a slope.
Yeah,
I know that.
Very severe slope.
So there. Faldo cannot help himself at this moment. If his opponent misses this putt, however, they're tie again with 1 hole to play. Putting. It appeared he had a chance for a birdie to wrap it up, and they'll go to the 18th hole tie. If they're still that way at the end of 18, we'll be back tomorrow. There will not be a playoff tonight. It will not be sudden death or any other version. It will be an 18-hole playoff tomorrow if somebody doesn't win it or lose it on the 18th hole. Well, he won't look back on that one as fun years from today, I guess, Dave.
Well, you may remember that you three-putted. You still don't know at this point how it's going to turn out as you see the 18th fairway just left of the corporate tents you see in the middle there between 1 and 18.
So the 17th has made history again. In 1913, it was Ouimet birdieing it in the 4th round in the playoff. 1963, Julius Boros birdied it on the 4th round. Didn't realize at the time, or didn't think at the time, would move him into a playoff, but it did. Then he went on to win that, and now a bogey by the leader has put it into a tie with 1 hole to play.
And if the stats mean anything, it's so important to drive in the fairway here at 18. And the present British Open champion, Nick Faldo, is leading the statistics. There you see, 14 of 14 so far, and he was #1 starting the day. So certainly he's done the best driving of anyone in the tournament. Curtis, on the other hand, is 34th in driving.
And they're getting any vantage point they can find. Remember at Marion when the guy fell out of a tree on Trevino? Well, he was not on him, but while he was about to putt on 18. You know, some of them have gotten on the roof of the clubhouse. They're everywhere. All right, the final hole, 438 yards long, plateau green, par 4.
The wind has turned around a little again and is coming back in the face of the players. This hole's going to play a little longer than it has been today. He's cut it right down the middle of the fairway. Beautiful shot.
Couldn't be better. And now it's over to you, Curtis. If by some chance you've just joined us, we're on the final hole of the U.S. Open in the 4th round. Curtis Strange, right here, is tied with Nick Faldo of England with 1 hole to play. They battle man-to-man all afternoon.
Jack Nicklaus, didn't you always feel that driving into the sun was very difficult?
I think driving into the sun on the last hole of the U.S. Open is about the most difficult thing I can think of doing right now.
Tied for the lead.
Tied for the lead.
He's hit a beautiful drive down the left-hand side.
Just up in
and that 6 inches is going to make a tremendous difference right here.
Seems to have quite a good lie in there. But it is in the rough. We're headed for the finish in the Open.
I didn't know really what to say there.
Well, that was about the right thing.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking about that, about what Curtis did at 17. That absolutely, I mean, I think that frankly is caused by a green.
Yeah, by the green?
By the green itself, yeah. The green is so severe.
Yeah.
Right on his pants.
Right side, right center. Hi, Mr.
Hi, Chris, how are you?
Very good. Hello, Joe.
And Curtis would like to take that green and bury him. 2 days in a row.
18-hole playoffs. I can give you a level, yes. How are you?
You are there, eh, Jack?
Hello, Jack.
Hello?
Hello, Jack.
You're there.
I'm here.
Yes, good. Good.
Can't see anything, but I'm here.
Well.
Yes.
You'll hear it. Curtis is 6 inches into the rough, Jack. Faldo's right down the middle.
Left rough, he is, Jack.
Left rough, yes.
Yes.
This is what was happening while we were away, walking down through the crowd from their tee shots to the second shots, the shots to the 18th green. Curtis Strange there in the red shirt. Marshall's trying to make the way for him, somewhat reminiscent of the British Open when they pop out of that crowd like a champagne cork. Here's Nick Faldo, though, right in the middle of the fairway. I suspect when he walks up to this 18th green, he'll get the best reception any Englishman's gotten in Boston, at least in 1776.
Faldo is 190 yards into the breeze, just slightly coming out of the left.
Sun still may be a problem for him, Bob.
Well, the sun is very tough out here, and your green is all in shade. Very tough to judge.
I suspect he's got probably a 4-iron. Is that right, Bob?
Well, if he's got a 4, Jack, I think he's going to have to step on it, but I think that's what he has.
Elevated green, bunkers in front, cross bunkers. Just off the putting surface. He'll have the benefit, if he wants, of leaving the flag stick in. Doesn't look like a birdie from there. Yeah, that's one of the most unusual statistics in sports. Now, remember what that means. It means that no one has ever had to birdie the 18th hole to win and done it. People have birdied the 18th hole and won.
Curtis Strange, 162 yards. Beautiful lie, but in the rough, regardless. Curtis played a 6-iron yesterday from 165 and didn't get it back. He put it in the front bunker.
I'm sure all that's running through his mind, Bob, at being in that rough, is to throw it as high and as soft as possible and just get it over that front bunker and let the green do the rest.
That would be great, and he's got the kind of lie he can do that, Jack.
I can't tell you whether it rolled back into the hole that it made or not.
I think it's just to the right of it, Jim. Of course, that's tough walking up there, Jack. You've had that experience a lot of times. These people are running, and one of them bumped Curtis there. You get your mind off what you got to do when that happens to you.
You totally lose your concentration when you're getting this kind of a situation. I know they'd like to control the people, but I don't believe they can right now.
They've run right by the ropes and everything. Now, what do you think, Jack? He's got, Lie looks okay. I don't know if Rossi's even going to be able to get up there and see it through all these people, but it didn't look as though it was in its own mark there.
So. I don't know, Dave. I can't tell, but it's on the side of that face, and if it's in the side of that face, it's probably partially in and partially out of that pitch mark.
You can see it right there. There. Now, what about Faldo's shot coming down the hill there?
Well, I think everybody thinks that Nick has got an awfully easy shot, but that is awfully quick coming down that hill, and Nick's going to have to work. If he's going to try to make it, he's going to still have to be very careful not to three-putt.
Is there one you would rather have of the two?
You know how I play bunkers. I'd much rather be where Faldo is.
Curtis's ball is not in the pitch mark. It's to the right of the pitch mark. He has a beautiful lie, actually, and about as easy a bunker shot as you're ever going to see. Of course, the situation makes it a little more difficult.
That's right, and he got there yesterday in the same bunker and made a beautiful shot out of there and made his par after bogeying 16 and 17.
Glad to hear you're alive and well and got through the crowd anyway, Rossi. But Jim almost got you at the British Open one year. Yes, Dave.
Whatever happens, I mean, this is what it's all about. I first heard that comment from Jack Nicklaus, but until you've been a player, you just can't understand the excitement going through those two players right there and all the things that run through your mind that you're trying to get out of to concentrate on what you're trying to do. I mean, you don't have any control over the other guy. It's not like a sport where you can go in and tackle him or block him or something.
Bob says he's got a very easy bunker shot. But you're right, he's got all those conditions that he's got to control. And that's the hardest thing, is to control those conditions. 9 chances out of 10, I think Curtis had knocked this ball inside 3 feet.
All right, now let's see.
Who's away?
Yes, I think maybe Faldo is away here.
No, I don't believe so. I think Curtis is away.
All right, well, there he is. There have been 20 foreign-born winners of the U.S. Open, but only 4 who were not living in the United States when they won, and that was Harry Vardon in 1900, Ted Ray in 20, Gary Player in 65, and Tony Jacklin 18 years ago. Faldo trying to be the 5th.
Plus, he would duplicate what Tony did, holding both Open championships at the same time.
That's right.
Amazing how quiet this many people can get that were so noisy just a second ago.
And how noisy they can get in a minute or so, depending on what happens. Each golfer lies 2. What a beautiful shot.
Look at that little smile. Do you think he is tough? He is so cold, if you want to put it that way. He is a very, very hard player.
D.A. Wyrie said he's got a lot of respect for Strange. He said he reminds him of Jack Nicklaus and Ray Floyd. When he gets going, you can see it in his eye.
And now this makes this shot so much harder, because you can't expect Curtis is going to do anything but make a par there. Now Nick really has to be careful.
Interesting, there have been 17 subpar scores today. Ties the record for the 4th round of an Open. It's Curtis's wife, Sarah. But neither of the leaders is under par, unless Faldo makes his putt.
Before the week, I talked to Curtis and I asked him what he thought would win. He said 278 to 280. If he makes a par here, he will shoot 278. And of course, if Nick makes a par, it'll be 278.
And they'll go tomorrow. This putt to win the United States Open.
Again, you're standing there helpless. There's nothing he can do. Nick should make it.
Be cautiously aggressive.
It looks like we'll be back tomorrow.
Well, the putt
But it's not quite over.
The putt he hit at 17 was a great putt, and that was too.
Yep.
Both good putts. I think he thought that putt was going to break a little bit more, but he was. Notice how cautious he was with the stroke, but he made sure he got it to the hole and gave himself a chance to win the golf tournament.
ABC's coverage will be 4 to 5:30 Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. Assuming there's a playoff. Let him make these 2 putts.
Well, it's not Sunday afternoon at the club, and you're
No.
putting your leather down there to see.
Both wives. One down. For the 3rd time that it's been played at the Country Club in Brookline, the U.S. Open has ended in a tie. This time between these 2 men, 30-year-old Nick Faldo of England, 33-year-old Curtis Strange of Virginia. Strange, winner of almost $1 million on tour last year, the leading money winner. Faldo, the reigning British Open champion.
Gates open at 11 o'clock.
So the
tee time will be 2 p.m.
The putt on 17 was the big one that caused the tie to Curtis Strange. We'll be back.
Well, folks, as you can see, 72 holes would not be enough to determine a winner, with Strange and Faldo set for a Monday 18-hole playoff.
And just like Sunday, the action was nip and tuck throughout. We pick it up here on the 13th tee with Strange clinging to a one-stroke lead.
In this string of 4 very hard par 4s, 433 yards. The players, depending on the wind, may not use a driver here. If they're with the wind, that lake you see down on the right does come into play. The fairway is going with the players downhill. The problem, most of the time, what sort of lie do you draw in this fairway? Most of them are a little bit downhill, and you're shooting from a downhill lie to this green. You do have an opening there in front. Let's see more of these this week, where you have an option of playing a shot into the green. This is Jackie Cupid in the 4th round in 1963. And at the time he was leading, of course, Jackie didn't quite get there. He got the double bogey at 17, which is Jack Whitaker, been a very historic hole, 17.
Indeed. If you think that wind is 7 miles an hour, as we showed you at the top of the show, you know it's different looking at that picture. It's thunderstorm kind of wind, going around in circles and blowing dirt and leaves, and those eddies that foretell that thunderstorms may well be on the way. And of course, the wind will affect how these holes are playing. 433 yards. Does that look like a driver, David?
It sure does to me.
Driving right into the wind, David, I would think they would come with drivers at this hole.
Faldo's cut that one in the right rough, and if it gets in that long fescue, he's not going to be in good shape. Just in the edge of it.
Yeah, there's a shot he has. On the rough across the water, he'll have to go across that pond.
Well, he drew a good lie there.
He did?
Just jumped out. He has a very good lie.
Curtis.
It's a hard drive when you're on an elevated tee and you're driving into the wind, because you're trying to fight to keep it low when you really can't.
Boy, that's a big drive down the left side. Absolutely perfect.
All right, Curtis Strange in the fairway, Nick Faldo over in the right rough with a fairly decent lie here at the 13th, 433 yard par 4, and we'll return with the rest of this hole in a moment.
.7 miles an hour. His pants are about to blow off.
This saw me, huh, Jerry?
The lie's all right, but the ball's way up above him.
sind gleich Test, aber lasst es.
Faldo.
Okay.
We are back at the 88th United States Open Championship, the 18-hole playoff between Curtis Strange and Nick Faldo, and there is Nick Faldo after 12 holes. He trails by 1 stroke and has put his drive over here in the right rough. Tonight on ABC's Monday Night Baseball, American League East rivals will meet when the front-running New York Yankees meet the Detroit Tigers. And in the National League, the Cincinnati Reds play Houston. Check local listings for the game in your area. They begin live at 8 Eastern tonight on ABC Sports.
Nick Faldo is 175 yards from the flag. Has a good lie, but the ball is up above him. And it's the tendency here is, for one, the ball may balloon, and it's into the wind just slightly. And number 2, he has to guard against hooking it. Normally, the ball will hook off this kind of a lie, although the rough may prevent it from hooking as much as it usually does.
Water, no problem there, Bob?
No, no problem.
Play straight. Bye.
Boy, that was an excellent shot.
Safely on for the British boy.
Curtis is 165 yards. Nice angle. If he lands the ball to the left of the hole, it should kick down to the right. Ball slightly below his feet, but it should be no problem.
Both of these gentlemen have hit 4 out of 12 greens. A little gusty winds blowing here at the Country Club today.
They've putted well on the front 9. Curtis had 11 putts and Nick 13.
Cut. He was trying to cut that shot in from left to right, and the wind just fell to move it to the flag.
All right, 2 of them on the green safely here. And David Marr was a busy little man before this playoff began. Here's more of his conversation with Nick Faldo.
This is only your second Open in the United States. Is there any reason for that?
Well, simply that our qualification's been very difficult. They've only taken #1 in Europe as an automatic exemption into the US Open, which is quite a feat to do. I managed to do it in '83 and I got in '84. I sure, it's one of the wishes that I have, that, at least I wish that all these major bodies in golf could just get down and sit on a table one day together and thrash it out for a few hours, because there's too many good players in the world that miss out. I think you've got to accept golf is now a world event. Forget all these shorelines and water in between. Let's have all the best players in the world playing together. I mean, then it's fair, because if you win a championship like this, you want to sit back and say, I beat everybody. Everybody teed it up that week in the world who can play, and I beat them.
Hear, hear. Well spoken, Nick.
Very mature young man. He's been through a lot of problems. That win was so important to him in the Open Championship last year, his Open. He suffered a lot of criticism in the British press.
Playoffs, there have been many of them here in the United States Open, and 60 years ago today, Johnny Farrell beat Bobby Jones in a 36-hole playoff. Sorry to say that Johnny Farrell passed away last week in Florida, but our condolences to his family, and thank you for the many, many fine memories.
He was one of the first of the dapper dressers. We tend to think of Demerit, but before Jimmy was Johnny, who with his silk shirts and +4s.
Him off, huh? Marvelous big old trees here, many of which were around 75 years ago. Faldo taking a good bit of time with this putt.
Why he took his time, Jack. That is slick going down that hill there. That's what happens to you in an open, though. You may have the ball on the green, as Curtis did yesterday. You've hit a good shot, but you're putting defensively because it is so fast.
13th hole, profile of how it's played through the 4 rounds of the tournament. 14 others.
It's the others you must stay away from.
Indeed.
Talk about Johnny Farrell a minute ago, and we'll miss him, but one of Nick Faldo's mentors was Gerald Micklem, an RNA official, a wonderful player who also passed away recently.
The ranks getting thinner. Now Curtis. Yes.
Twice today, after he's made a bogey, he's come right back with a birdie.
And not the easiest putts either that he makes for birdies.
None of these are easy. See that just moving so slowly and yet still moving. Makes this putt very important now. As they all are, obviously, but you don't want to drop 2 at the 1 hole.
Daylight now.
It's a lot of daylight when you pick up 2 at once, because Nick has to feel like after he picked up a stroke, then didn't hit a drive in the fairway at 13 and played a good shot up there. Now it's looks like if he makes this, he's going to 3-putt. This is no cinch either. This is so quick if you ever get it outside of the hole on the wrong line.
Okay. All right, 3 putts, bogey, birdie for Curtis. 3-stroke advantage at the moment. Very timely putt for Curtis Strange here at the 13th. Here it is again.
Looks a lot shorter from this angle, but watch how slow this is moving.
Even in slow motion, it looks fast. Yes, that will get your confidence in high gear, won't it? Here is the 14th hole.
This is the 1 par 5 on the back 9, 527 yards, a slight dog leg to the left. Now, if the wind stays the same and it's downwind, if they both hit good drives, they'll be able to reach this particular hole. They both could have reached it yesterday, and yet both walked off with pars. And one of the wives said, "Isn't that terrible? Neither one birdied the hole." But if elevated green there, and that's what makes the second shot a little hard to get on the green. You've got to take plenty of club to get up that hill, but when you do, and if it's downwind, we'll watch Curtis and what he did on Thursday. This is his third shot at this par 5. And that was just beginning to pick up a little speed, as you see the little smile on Curtis Strange there. And of course, he made a heroic 4 there on Saturday when he hit it in that little fairway bunker, Jim.
Okay, now they're on the 14th tee. Rossi, you're there. Considering the wind, you think it's possible for either of them to get home in 2?
Yes, the wind is blowing right behind them, Jim, and they can get home easily here. I would think this hole would play a drive and an iron today.
Well, Nick Faldo needs something dramatic, and the possibility exists here. Possibility of an eagle. But it's there for Curtis, too, with his 3-stroke lead.
Well, he's hit it down the left side, and if it takes a good kick, it'll jump back into the short rough.
That's not a very pleasant place to be, is it, Dave? Up against that collar.
Depends if it's right against it, because then you're not fish or foul, and you got to be careful with a shot like that. I saw Jerry just take a look at it. Jerry?
Well, he's all right, David. He can lay it up with no problem. He can get the club on it with no problem.
The key there was lay it up, though, when he might want to have had a chance at reaching the green. Big drive here for Nick, Jim.
Birdied this once in 4 tries on opening day. 527 yards. He has a really big drive in his bag. This is the time.
You can see how he's a pronounced inside waggle there.
Oh, that's a big one right down the middle. Real big. Going to carry over the hill and be well down the fairway.
Exactly what Faldo needed at this point. So he will have the chance of getting home in 2, right, Jerry?
No question about it.
Okay, so Strange with the 3-stroke lead is in the rough. The man trying to come from behind is straight down the middle. That is never a bad place to be. Get home in 2, it appears. Faldo is right down the middle of the fairway with an excellent chance to get home in 2 and perhaps pick up some ground.
I am very surprised to see Curtis Strange right here with a wood. He's got a fairway metal club. I would think that he would lay the ball up, but he has a very dangerous shot to play with this club. But I guess he thinks if he can put it in the right-hand bunker, it won't be too bad. But at the angle, he's got a very tough shot to try and put it on the green.
I thought when I saw him move the people back on the left, Bob, he was just trying to get them back so he could see the pin.
After looking at his lie, David, I thought he was going to take a 7 or 8 iron and lay it up to the bottom of the hill where he was yesterday. The fairway's very fast. There's a lot of wind behind. Now, he can reach the green. There's no problem with that. He's about 240 yards, and he can get there. But being 3 shots ahead, this is a shot that I am surprised at.
It's Bob Rosberg on the fairway.
Boy, it's a good-looking shot. If it misses that bunker, well, it's going to roll up the hill. And if it catches a rough, it'll be all right.
It's a beautiful shot. Just short of the green.
It stays there. Remember yesterday he hit a pretty good shot with an iron up there. Got on the green and then back down to about 30 yards short.
David, there's a little ledge that his ball's sitting on, and it's the only place his ball could have possibly stopped it, and if it hadn't stopped there, it would have gone 30, 40 more feet down the hill.
He got away with it.
Nick Faldo, 210 yards. Very tough pin placement to get close today. wind is coming out of the left and behind, and the pin is only 8 yards from the left-hand edge. I would think this is a 4-iron.
And he has to start maybe a little gamble here, Bob. He may try to bite out a little over that bunker, don't you think?
Oh, he has to, David, because Curtis has got an easy-looking chip, and he's chipping right up the hill, and he's got to try and make 3.
He's coming in nice and high and cutting in towards the flag. It's a good-looking shot, good hold. Well, safely on the green.
Yep. On the back edge.
And it should come
Well,
back
it's
down.
coming back, Jim. Yep. Still moving. That will be about it. Yes.
But that gives you some idea of how fast his putt is going to be down that hill. That's the problem with that hole. It's a par 5. A lot of players have been able to reach. Have a little brunch there.
Yes.
Little apple.
Well, it's tee time.
Tee time. All right. Speaking of tee time, this is at the 14th tee. Now, Curtis Strange and Nick are about the same when you see their setup. Now, Curtis's hands may be a little bit higher, but their knees are the same. Nick's a little taller. When they get back, you notice they both keep their left heel pretty much on the ground. They both get to the top, backs to the target. Now, if you remember, Curtis hit his ball to the left here. Nick hit the ball right down the center of the fairway. Now, when we get back down to impact, I believe you'll see Curtis's left hip will be much more out of the way, his right heel higher than Nick's left heel. So Nick is able to keep the club on line a little longer while Curtis is spinning out of the way, which produces in a good player a pull or a hook. And Nick, on the other hand, can stay on line longer and hit it right down the fairway.
Okay. You were talking about Curtis Strange's twin brother, Alan. Well, there he is. There he is.
He's a stockbroker in Richmond, Virginia. Not quite as gray as Curtis there. The 6-footers will put a little more gray in your hair.
Identical twin brother.
And Market will
And he
put
was
some gray in
pretty
your
good,
hair too.
Pretty good player though, isn't he?
Oh yes, he played at East Tennessee State, I believe, on the golf team.
A little bit on the tour.
Yes, or East Tennessee, I should say.
You know who came by to say hello a few minutes ago was Jack Corain, who was the captain of the U.S. Olympic hockey team back in 1960, the first time they beat the Soviet Union. He lives in the house right next door to Francis Ouimet's house. Says he remembers him. He hit that up there, remember, with a metal club. And Dave talked to him about that subject a little bit earlier.
Well, hopefully everybody didn't think it's just the metal clubs. There's a little bit of talent in this body. I changed, 4 or 5 years ago, and I just like them. I feel like for a long time there, my fairway wood game was not as good as my iron game and my driving game, and for whatever reason. So I switched to the metal wood, 3-wood, and I hit it better. Then I went to the driver, and I didn't like it for a while, but I went to it and said I'm going to try it, and I ended up playing well with it very shortly after that. And then I changed to the 4-wood, metal wood. I said, well, if these two things are that good, let me try a 4-wood. And that was right before the 85 Masters because I wanted a good 4-wood there because of the par 5s. And so everything was worked out, and just because of that, I guess because of maybe the exposure or whatever, everybody sees the metal woods in my hand all the time. But I really like them, and I think they're very good for me.
Different strokes, as they say, different folks. Looking this one over very carefully. This will be, remember, his 3rd shot on the par 5 hole. His opponent is on the putting surface at 2.
I think the metal club is here to stay now. I remember first in 1949, there was an aluminum club that it looked like might make a little dent in the market, but it didn't. But now with a lot of players playing at least one of these.
Get in the hole.
Have that for birdie attempt, certainly makeable.
One thing about when they cut the fairways as low as they do now with the new conditions, they can cut them with the triplexes. I think it makes that particular kind of shot a little harder because the ball is sitting a little tighter. If it was is a little fluffier, you may be able to play it a little softer as we look at the statistics through 13 holes, or through.
Not much to choose between them. But Strange with a 3-stroke lead.
Coming into the day, they had 14 birdies each.
Look at the people lined up. You could see them a moment ago at the top of your screen, lined up way down the fairway and all around the green. They're already gathered. The grandstands at 18 are full, waiting for them. There are people all over the golf course.
At 15,
yeah,
they're waiting.
Here's 18, and on 15, they're already lined up, waiting for them to come in. Now look, that's 15. It has to be the largest crowd for a playoff that we've ever seen, I think, Dave.
It's the largest I've ever seen, Jim. This is a sports town, as you say. They are very proud of their Boston.
This difficult putt. Long, difficult putt for an eagle.
And he could get a 2-stroke swing here if he should make this. That'll make Curtis's putt a lot more difficult.
Oh, still going. Each will have a birdie attempt now. Physical strain and emotional and mental strain has to be getting to them a little bit now. Remember, this is the 5th round of golf in 5 days, everyone under the pressure of playing in the United States Open.
They're going to ask one of the officials to come over. Maybe something is wrong with the edge of the cup.
Jerry, do you have any idea?
I don't, Jim. I'm standing right here by the green. I'll walk up a little closer and see if I can hear what's going on.
Okay. Bill Battle, president of the USGA.
He just fixed the lip there a little bit. That happens sometimes when the caddy may pull the pin out without taking care. And I think Frank Hennigan has an idea of what that was all about. Francis?
The edge of the cup evidently was a little bit out of round, and the rules of golf say that the player isn't allowed to touch the inside of the hole. He has to call a member of the committee if there's any repair work to be done on the edge of the hole, and that's what happened. He called over the referee, Bill Battle, who did a little pressure job with the thumb and forefinger, and presumably the cup is now back to round.
Okay.
There was also a piece of trash in the hole. That's what he removed. He removed a stick out of the hole.
Oh, he did?
I don't think Curtis wanted to put his hand down into the hole and remove the trash.
Well, somebody was being neat to keep America clean.
Curtis was being cautious, too. You don't want to take some kind of an obscure penalty at this point.
That's right. That's what happened to Lloyd Mangrum in the playoff at Marion with Hogan when he picked the ball up and blew the fly off of it, or the bug, and cost him 2 strokes.
No. Now opportunity does in fact knock for Nick Faldo. A par for Curtis Strange. Faldo makes this, the lead will shrink to 2. So that's a tough road ahead of him to get back with Curtis. He has to make this one.
Nick can't.
He's going to stay on.
Have to. Strange things can happen between here and the clubhouse, obviously. You just see Curtis working on the stroke there, but just can't let opportunities like this go by. You're getting late in the game. You're only going to have 4 holes left after this hole. You don't want to be 3 strokes down. This would be just to put him 2 back.
Shrinks to 2 strokes with 4 holes to play. And there's a little more hope in England as the family of Nick Faldo watch. His little daughter Natalie at 2 probably doesn't know too much of what's going on except she sees Daddy's picture. They're in the town of Welwyn Garden City, Herefordshire.
Jim, the 15th hole is a 434-yard par 4. The road that you see, which is the entryway to the club, is about 280 yards off the tee. This is a nice par 4. The bunker there that you see in front of the green shouldn't come into play, and you've got a nice opening there Bunkers each side of the green short, kind of reminiscent of a wing foot type hole. The pin today on 15 is 45 feet back, 15 feet from the right side. See it there. In case you wonder about what they do in a playoff, they do in fact change the cups from the 4th round to the playoff round, but today they left them generally in the same area they were on Sunday's round, with the exception of the 5th hole, which was the biggest change.
The 11th hardest hole through the 4 rounds of the tournament was the 15th. And you will get another good look at this sizable gallery. We're down to this 15 and a par 3 at 16, and the always evil 17th, par 4, and a par 4 18th. Raised tee here, Nick Faldo.
This is where he made his only birdie yesterday.
I would think he'll need at least 1, possibly 2 birdies coming home, wouldn't you say, David?
I agree with that, Jack.
If he is to hold his own future.
Well, it's down the right side, and it's going to catch the right-hand rough. And that is not the place to be on this hole.
Almost up where Curtis hit his yesterday afternoon, up by the road, and got a ruling.
Well, the flag is on the right-hand side, and that is not where you want to be here on this tee shot.
There it is, the man with the flag in the right rough. There's the shot from there to the green. And as Jerry has just told us, the flag over there, on the right. Curtis laid this hole 1 over.
Come on, wind moving.
That one's also down the right-hand side and drawing back. It can take a left-hand bounce and get out in the shortcut rough, and it did.
He's going to bring it through here if you want to wait, Larry.
So both of them on the right-hand side here at 15. And Curtis with a 2-stroke lead over Faldo at the moment. We'll be back as Faldo and Strange go at it in just a moment. Green. Waiting for Faldo and Strange, who are now playing their second shots over at 15. This looks like yesterday afternoon. An exceptionally large crowd to this playoff. This is the 15th. Up at the green. And look at them lying down both sides of the fairway. Students of golf history. All right, let's find out what the situation is with the 2 shots. Both of them in the right side of the hole.
Nick Faldo is 160 yards. Wind coming out of the right and slightly into him. He has a good lie for being in that tall rough. It's as good as you could possibly expect. I believe he's going to take a 7-iron and try and hit it hard. Get it up in the air and carry that bunker. It's about 145 over the bunker, but it's hard to tell how far a ball is going to fly out of this rough, even though the lie is good. In fact, it looks like he has an 8-iron. Looks like more of a rounded toe on that club.
I'd like to tell our stations down the line we are definitely going over, and we will be on till the conclusion of the playoff.
Well, he's played it well out to the left. It little hold without running to the green. Just rolled through, but he didn't have much other play than that, Rossi, than to hit it to the left side of this hole.
That's right, Jerry. Even though, as I said, the lie was as good as you could expect, he still couldn't really fire it at the flag. That rough takes that club and turns it down closed, and most times the ball will come out to the left. Curtis is 148 yards. Wind coming out of the right, not quite as hard now as when Nick shot.
I do, yeah. Just gonna jump some out of there.
Sorry. I do too. Should come out quick in the fairway.
Get down.
He's pulled it to the left, and it's a little bit hot. Well, it's in the left bunker, but that's not all bad.
Well, they both hit it to the right side off the tee and to the left side off the green on their second shots. Curtis Strange with a 2-stroke lead at the moment, and here's some more conversation between Dave Marr and Nick Faldo.
You were quoted in the paper saying that you had won your Open, and I understand how you feel. Do you feel there's a little less pressure on you than there may be on Curtis, because this is his Open he's trying to win?
Yeah, that's probably true. Yes, I think you know, that's my dream. That's what I dreamt about as a kid. I'm sure this is what Curtis has dreamed about. So this, for me, is a bonus. It's something I honestly I've never dreamt about. But you know, once I won the Open, then it changes your plan for the next 5 years. You know, I'm exempt into all the majors, and then all of a sudden you start to focus on the majors. They're the most important thing in your career.
Well said by Nick Faldo, Jack. And Curtis Strange's hero as a youngster was Sam Snead, no doubt the greatest player who never won the Open.
Only because the gods of golf were nodding those days.
He's often said if he'd ever won one, he might have won 8 of them.
Curtis Strange with a 2-stroke lead here at the 15th green. And look at the gallery now, massing behind.
They're pitching back into the wind there, aren't they, Bob, Jerry?
Yes, Dave. Curtis is going to have to play this bunker shot into the wind. It's a long bunker shot, perhaps 55, 60 feet, but relatively flat green. Curtis has just played magnificently out of the bunkers this week. He has played some shots that are hard to comprehend. He did hit the one bad one at the 4th hole today, but aside from that, he's just been wonderful. Curtis right now has got to take stock of himself and try and get a hold of himself again. He made the nice birdie at 13. This is probably the biggest shot of the day for him. If he can get this ball close, he can put himself in very good position. That's not one of his better ones. That's about 12 feet short.
He didn't have too much room beyond the flag there, and you can see that it's not moving much. His wind is blocked there a little bit by the stands that you see to the right of the green. What about Nick's lie?
Nick has got a beautiful lie, and just in a little short rough. He just has to get it on the green and let it run like a putt. I don't think you'll see him pitch it very far. I think he'll play a pitch and run all the way. Might have cost Nick Faldo the United States Open Championship, that shot. played it in a very strange way. He knew it was going to come out a little hot, and he pitched it a lot farther than he wanted to.
I don't know what club he played it with, Bob. It looked like a lot of loft. Maybe it was a wedge, and he was trying to, maybe for some reason, think he could get something on the ball out of there.
Well, it did look like he played with a lot more loft than I thought he would have played the shot with, but I think it just kind of shot on him. And yeah, coming out of this rough, even though he had a nice lie, it's very difficult to judge the speed.
Still doesn't have the putter in his hand.
No, and he doesn't have the easiest of shots. He's got the kind of a shot, it comes a little uphill right at the start and then goes back down away from him. It's another shot that is very difficult to judge the speed, and of course he has to. He's taken the flag out, and he has to try and make it, of course. It's getting very late.
Looks like he's got a putter grip here. Change your style a little bit. Curtis does that when he gets a shot. Yes, see, he's got his putter grip there. And we'll see if, see a little practice there where he's worn down the center of that club. Ooh, about 6 inches less hit on that. That might have been a fancy little 4, never having touched the fairway.
Nick hasn't missed many fairways, but missing this one is going to be a very costly one.
He made his first birdie yesterday after 14 straight pars.
The only one he made yesterday. He has really left the door open for Curtis, and Curtis has done some wonderful putting in the last, say, 6 weeks of the American Tour, and it's amazing the number of players that have won at Muirfield at Memorial, like Nicklaus, Irwin, Graham, Floyd, Watson, and Curtis have all won Opens. Person that can win there can also win a here.
What a body blow.
You hate to miss it. Not the body blow would have been if he'd have made it. Then you'd have seen Nick be the one that'd be reeling or on the ropes or taking an standing 8 count.
Bogey for Curtis, and now Nick may dodge a bullet here. Looks so good, didn't it?
Caught a lot of the hole. Just winked in.
Yes, both get bogeys here at 15, and Nick Faldo stays alive 2 shots behind with 3 holes to play as we move off the 15th green over to the 16th tee in this beautiful little par 3.
It's a nice looking par 3 here, Jack. 185 yards. Problem here is your club selection and which way is the wind blowing. Now that front right bunker you see there is the one that you've got to carry the ball over. Yesterday Curtis's ball hit on the downslope of that and went over the green. Nick hit an indifferent shot out to the right and caught the small bunker to the right of the green. Problem is that bunker lip sits up about 4 or 5 feet, hiding about 1/3 of that green. Wind will make all the difference on the club selection here. We have the same honor as yesterday too. Nick hit first.
This hole is going to play straight downwind today, Dave, and this is the toughest wind you can have on this hole. I don't think that they can carry the ball over that right bunker and stop it within 20 or 25 feet of the hole. I think the smart shot today would be down the left and into the slot and let the ball take the roll back to the right.
Well, there you see the flag whipping in that downwind.
Well, you know Curtis has to think that. He's not even thinking about going the other way. Nick now has the problem.
Hole's 182 yards today to the flag.
2 strokes behind with 3 holes to play. Conservatism cannot be the order of the day for Nick Faldo.
Out to the right. It's going to carry the bunker. Oh, got a good bounce back onto the green.
Well, that looked about as good as you could do on this hole.
Stopped that a lot faster than I thought he could downwind.
Now Curtis Strange with the 2-stroke lead. Can play a little more conservative.
Yes, I would think Curtis is going to try and hit it in the left-hand slot because the wind is coming a little out of the left and behind. But trying to hit it there and hitting it there are 2 different things. You're thinking one thing, and you're guarding against that right, because anything that gets away to the right, the wind is going to magnify the miss. So Curtis with just a nice solid 6-iron, I think, just down the left-hand side and let it take the roll and go down to the flag.
Hope.
Did not bite.
Just, all right.
Got a good little break there. Hit that back collar and got away from it, so it could have been a lot worse than it is.
Okay, they're on the 16th hole. Curtis Strange with a 2-stroke lead and the U.S. Open Championship on the line.
Hey, Terry, Jack Whitaker, could you excuse me? I have to do this dinner in New York tonight for Golf Magazine. I would love to make the 6:30 shuttle or else I'm dead. Any Thursday? Thank you, pal.
Hello, Terry? What does that do to me? Well, even if we don't, by the time they play 18 holes, I'm probably going to blow my plane. I thought we had a deal. Related to a 7:30 plane. Exactly what it related to. Well, I'm glad you're a prophet. What's it going to take them? 2.5 holes, half an hour, I guess. Yeah, that's about right. Then they're going to make us fill to 6:30 or something? Terry? Then they're liable to make us fill to 6:30 or something? We return to the playoff. We're live. Playoff for the U.S. Open Championship at the Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts. The threatened thunderstorm does not seem to be in the offing now. The skies are clear, no clouds. It's cooling off a little bit. The wind is still the main weather problem for the players. Curtis Strange here with a 2-stroke lead over Nick Faldo, the current British Open champion. Curtis still looking for that first major championship.
He made a great putt here yesterday for a par. After hitting somewhat the same kind of shot he did here, went through the green back into the back and hit an indifferent chip down there. Now he knows there's still a long way between here and the clubhouse. Can't help but think about winning the Open, but you've got to keep your mind on the business at hand. Somebody's life today is really going to change, and if Curtis should win, that will be one less question he has to answer that he gets asked every time at a press conference.
Sure is lined up far to the right of that hole.
Big break.
And still not far enough. Or he didn't hit it hard.
Hit it hard. That's as hard as you want to hit it. It got almost hole high.
We'll have that for the par 3.
You don't do anything silly. You make Nick think he's got to make it to pick up a stroke. You make a guy build it a brick at a time if he's trying to get back.
And they can say, as they always do, you must just play the golf course and play for your score, not turn it into match play. But it's almost impossible when you're looking the other man in the eye.
What you say is true.
Pretty good there for a while.
A lot more break than it looked like. It looked very level there. He asked Curtis, can I finish? Go right ahead.
He'll finish up. Curtis has his putt, which actually is a bit longer. All right, there's his par 3. Curtis must make sure of this one.
Just 2 very short putts here in the 3rd and 4th round. One at 17 on Saturday afternoon that looked even shorter than this, and at the 2nd hole starting out yesterday. So he has made a gang of putts. Now he's watched Nick's ball, but knows it's got to move a little to the left if it moves. But if you get it outside the hole with too much speed, it's not going to break.
All right. Curtis Strange will maintain his 2-stroke lead with 2 holes to play. Now the problem for Nick Faldo becomes more difficult. He has to hope for a two-stroke swing here at 17, Dave.
Beautiful golf hole, and as we've talked about, a lot of history here. Not overly long, 381. The Varden bunker on your left there. Bunker put in for the 63 Open on your right. Just a beautiful golf hole that swings. When you stand on a tee, Jim, you know it's a dogleg left and down into this long, narrow green. You can see the bunkers around the green. Now the pin, when that was taken, of course, was in the front of the green. The pin today at that hole is 63 feet back on the green, back on that shelf, and it's dead center.
There you see the wind. This is the history hole at the Country Club. This is where Francis Ouimet birdied it in the 4th round and again in the playoffs. He defeated Varden and Ray. This is where Boros birdied, eventually to turn out to give him a chance to tie and then win the playoff in 1963. And this is where Jackie Cupid took a double bogey on the other hand.
Where Curtis three-putted yesterday to go back into a tie.
Faldo just put that ball on the ground and hit it.
Perfect shot right down the center of the fairway. About 160 yards left to the flag, so he's in good shape.
Curtis has hit 2 perfect drives at this hole on Saturday and Sunday and made 5 both times. Not because of the drive, not because of his second shot, but he's 3-putted from relatively short distances both times.
He said on Saturday, Bob, that was the first time in the whole tournament that he tried to force a putt into the hole instead of being patient.
Well, it looked like the kind of a putt he could do that with, Dave, and he pushed it just a little and it got away from him, and then, of course, the second one spun around and came right back at him.
Crosswind out there, Bob?
Sort of in the player's face, Jim. Yeah, the drive is in the player's face. The second shot, the wind is going to be coming out of the right.
Okay, right. Being a dogleg hole. Two holes to history.
Hit it to you ready.
He's taking his time now, I'll tell you. This is no time to be undecided. You have to have an idea of what you're going to do. Either cut it off the bunker, aim it down the right, and hook it a little.
Nice turn. Turn with the door.
Go for it, Curtis.
There it is.
Right in the middle of the fairway with only about 135 yards to 140 left of the flag.
So the second shot here will be very critical for Curtis. He's bogeyed this hole the last 2 days in a row, as Bob said. The most historic and eventful hole on the golf course. There's the Varden bunker, and here's Jack with the story of the house, which still stands, occupied, I believe, by a relative of his.
Nick Faldo is 160 yards from the pin way back in the green in that little narrow neck, and the wind up there at the green is really whipping from the right. You can see the pin and the flag. The pin is actually bent. The wind is blowing probably harder right now than it has all day.
We can see it, Bob, now, as a matter of fact.
You can't feel it where Nick is down here in the fairway because of the trees, but up there in that little gap, you can see it really blowing. There's no time to put it on the front of the green. He's got to try and shoot it back there.
What club would you guess, Bob?
Dave, it's between a 5 and a 6, but I think under the circumstances, he's got to go with the 5 and try and hold it against the wind a little. If he wants to come the other way, he wants to hook it, it's a 6.
Green tucked away in the corner of the golf course.
Right on line with the flag. Absolutely on line. A little bit long. Oh, and that's not where you want it.
That is somewhat near the position where Curtis Strange was yesterday, which was lightning fast coming down.
That's the only place you don't want it, is over the screen.
That was a good shot. See, where's the wind? You could just read it. Where's the wind? Is that what the ancient mariner said? Where's the wind?
He said a lot of things.
Yes.
Curtis is 140 yards, David. and he's coming from the right, so the wind is going to affect his ball. He's going to hit a shorter club, and therefore it'll be higher, and the wind will get it up there in that gap. I would think this is an 8-iron.
Heavy right to left pretty good.
He's definitely right to left pretty good. Right to left pretty good, I think, is what Mark Harmon was caddied. And that's true.
6-iron?
No, I kind of like that.
Catch it, lead it, knock it right back there.
It's not based on the yard. You have to take it off.
He's hung that one out to the right. It's going to be in the right bunker.
Yep. Wind did not blow that right to left. He seemed to know it as soon as he hit it. Yesterday, he was all the way in the back on the left side of the green. Now he's lifted out to the right. Not embedded, however.
Actually, he's in pretty good shape. He has enough green to work with. He's shooting uphill, and he has a perfect lie.
Now, yesterday, he had this putt for a birdie that would have, to all intents and purposes, wrapped up the U.S. Open. But look how lightning fast that was. Just about touched the ball. Left himself with this, then, for a par. And left it to the left of the hole. That, in essence, is what caused the tie. Now, today, Dave talked to him about that adventure.
Well, actually, I think what happened at 17 is an indication of what happens in an Open. You played a marvelous shot and got on the wrong side of the hole.
Exactly. I did exactly what I wanted to do on the fairway. I did not want to leave it on the front tier where Nick was. I felt like that was a difficult two-putt. And not being on the top side of that green all week long, I just didn't realize how fast it could be and how fast it was. And I just didn't quite hit it easy enough, I guess, obviously. And that second putt, I think, was a direct result of the first putt, and I hate to admit it because you're supposed to gather yourself and forget about the next putt and go ahead. But I was a little bit in shock. I couldn't believe it went that far by, and I missed the putt. But I fortunately regrouped in part 18.
And here he is now, back on 17 again, with yet another adventure. He's bogeyed it the last 2 days. And again, he had a perfect tee shot, as he did those other 2 days.
That's what happens to you, Jim. You overprotect with the wind there. He was left yesterday. He knows how fast that is. Jerry Payton pointed out, maybe he left himself easier shot. He's played a bunch of wonderful bunker shots this week.
This is much like the bunker shot he had at 18 yesterday, the same kind of shot. He can throw it way up in the air. It's very fast going down to the flag.
Lovely touch on that, huh? Under.
That's as much pressure as you're under playing golf. Yeah, when you're playing for the Open Championship.
Now it's over to Faldo, who has a difficult shot in the back of the green.
All he has to do is touch it. He's only about 4 or 5 feet off the putting surface, but there's no way that he can carry the ball up onto the green. He's got to land it in the short fringe, and barely do that. He's got to do it with a very lofted club.
A more difficult
when it
shot.
takes off, it's going.
More difficult shot than Curtis's?
Well, I think they're about equally difficult, Jim, but this one now, with Curtis already having played the shot, is really tough. There's one thing about it, though, you know, he's got to kind of try and make it, and I don't think there's any way he can leave it short. It's the one good thing that you might say about this shot, that I think it'll have to get to the hole.
Looks down in there a little bit, so it's going to really be speedy, Jim.
Be tough to keep it anywhere near the hole.
Stranger things have happened. The hole might might get in the way.
But it didn't. But it didn't. And it's about as close as he could keep it, right?
He chipped it as good as he could, I think. He landed it in the short fringe with a very lofted club. It had a chance to go in. If it hit the flag, it was not going that hard, but anything when it gets past the hole just keeps going.
Now they'll both have to putt for pars on the historic 17th, and here it is.
You can see
Fighting
he's
the golfers
a
again.
little bit dejected there because he knows now, of all the putts he's had today, this might be the biggest. If he misses this, Curtis can play 18 whichever way he wants to, because you've got to figure I could make 5 there and just say Nick can't make 3. 18's been a difficult hole to birdie all week.
I think Reese Jones has to be commended, David, in the rebuilding job he did on this green. He has made a comparatively short par 4, and he left it the same distance, but he built the green so that you have to play a great second shot in there. You really have to guard against going past the hole, and you've got a couple of great pin placements.
That's true, and he did that, put some new pin positions at 9 and 11, and of course new greens, same area, but new greens at 1 and 4.
The last playoff for the U.S. Open Championship resulted in a runaway from Fuzzy Zoeller by 8 strokes over Greg Norman. That's not the case here. No matter what happens on 17, this has been a battle all the way down.
Now remember, with this new green, this texture of this green has been a little slower when you're from below the hole than an uphill putt has been on the others. So he's played 16 greens seemingly of 1 speed, and now this one he can be a little firm with. He has to be. He's got to make this
for the par. Not quite. Bogey 5 for Nick Faldo. Now Curtis Strange, to all intents and purposes, can wrap it up if he makes this putt. Nick would rather not watch. He'll move on to 18 and try to regroup and think what he's going to do.
Curtis still has to keep his concentration though, Jim. 3-shot lead would really be sweet playing 18, because then you could make a 5 and you've got almost a cinch win.
Yep.
And as I said earlier, take the monkey off his back about winning majors. Put your name on that trophy with so many other famous players and be an Open champion the rest of your life.
That should do it. That should do it. One more hole to play, but that should do it for Curtis Strange of Virginia. A 3-stroke lead with 1 hole to play. Played even par to this point. Take a look at 18, the finishing hole, Dave.
Well, that street is very close there, but you really don't hear it. I know Curtis isn't going to hear it right now. This is a slight dog leg to the left. The 2 bunkers you see there in the left rough are in play. Players on this hole sometimes.
Well, can he avoid that bunker finally one time?
He's got to get up just a little bit, and did.
All right. Wow, what a shot. You've said many times, Dave, you do get pumped up in a moment like that. You got it, Curtis.
I'll never forget that 2-iron Hale Irwin hit it Wakefoot. Now he knows it's fine. As he says hi to Mr. Bill Battle there, the president of the USGA.
Rossi, I know Curtis is a very good friend of yours. This must mean a little something to you, too.
It really does. I've got shivers running up and down my back.
Yeah, we can hear a little quaver in the voice there, Ross.
Did you find that, Bob, when you won the PGA, that your friends and how you felt for them and how they felt for you when you talked to them?
It's just a feeling that you can't, you really can't tell about it, and they can't tell about it. It's 175 yards for Faldo.
And he's caught the mark.
Just didn't get up.
He had to go for the hole. That's what he did.
But balls I've seen, that looks plugged there in the front, so all of a sudden it's gone from bad to worse for Nick.
That's exactly right.
But you know, Jim, you look at Curtis.
All right, here we have the tribute to a new champion of American golf. Faldo's wife on the left. Sarah Strange commiserating with him.
Just coming into his prime, he's always felt he's had a lot of time. Got to be thinking of his dad who started him playing golf. All the people that have helped him. Chandler Harper helped him a lot. Chandler from down in
Old
his
Virginia
area.
man.
Right, from his area of the country.
There's Nick Faldo. Shot. Green and three. Range on a two. And there's the tribute for Nick Faldo. Let's listen to that.
Yeah, he looked over. Thought Nick had looked over at Curtis and said, "Let me go." Yeah.
We've seen that a lot of times, so that the champion can then putt out. Everybody will wait for that, whereas they might not wait patiently and quietly for the other man to putt.
And looking back in years to come too, Jim, they're going to see if Nick makes this, let's say, and he shoots 74 for the day, and Curtis 2 putts for 71, they're going to say, gee, that wasn't very close at all. You know, I mean, beat him 3 strokes.
Yeah.
Never know how excruciating it has been for both of these guys all day long. Jill Faldo, his wife.
Chilean, Jill. So he'll end with a bogey 5 for a round of 75. 4 over par for Nick Faldo.
To say the last 2 bogeys were because he had to try to do things that he wouldn't normally do if it was closer than that. Still a good show, Nick.
Now the formality of Curtis Strange crowning himself as U.S. Open champion, putting this ball in the hole. Take a few.
But you don't want to finish that way.
No.
Seen a number of times where a guy's a 2 or 3 stroke lead, he makes it from somewhere on the last hole.
This for an even par round of 71.
Yeah, for the U.S. Open. Way to go, Curtis.
Virginia has won the United States Open Golf Championship.
Ladies and
He's the
gentlemen,
American champion of golf. There's Mark Harmon caddying for him today. And Nick Faldo with the pat on the back and the handshake.
for the new 1988 U.S. Open champion, Curtis Strange.
That's what it means to win it.
Curtis, that was one for an awful lot of people. Your dad, Sarah, the kids. What a great win.
Thanks, Fosley.
Kind of hard to find words for it, isn't it?
It's a date late on Father's Day, but it's for Dad and it's for everybody at home and for you and Sarah, everybody.
May this be the first of many, Curtis.
Thanks, Rossi.
That is the end of the story.
You think that's why they're majors? You don't do that at other tournaments.
We're going to leave you now. As Curtis Strange leaves the green, headed for the locker room. Tonight for quiet enjoyment of what he's done. Those last few moments didn't touch you. You're not very easily moved. Crowd will disperse to come back, well, who knows when. The U.S. Open Golf Championship has been at this great place, the Country Club in Brookline, 3 times. In 1913, 50 years later, in 1963, 25 years after that, the year 1988, when the Englishman and the American fought it out nobly and at length. With the American winning this time. For Faldo, well, he's still the reigning British Open champion. He'll be defending that title in a few weeks. We'll be there. So will Curtis. And so I assume will Sarah. Perhaps another kiss for the waiter in Lytham and St. Anne's. The 88th U.S. Open Golf Championship playoff. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Scorpio, German performance you can be comfortable with at select Lincoln Mercury dealers. And by US F&G Insurance. US F&G covers the USA. Curtis Strange, the winner.